What's up, everybody? This is episode 81 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Shout outs to everybody that's been supporting this so far. For those who haven't checked out any of our episodes yet, go check it out on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. But without further ado, we have a very special guest this afternoon. He is a veteran of the New York City basketball community. He's been a coach, he's been an agent, and at one time he was also a player too. For those that may or may not know him, I give you Mr. Eddie Lau. Eddie, thank you for coming on to share your testimonial today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Indeed.
Yep.
So my very first question for you is, since you are a coach, what's Eddie Lau's coaching philosophy?
My biggest thing as a coach is to make sure that me and my players and my staff and whoever's involved helping these kids to make sure we are on the same page. Meaning same pages as making sure the kids is getting taken care of on and off the court. Off the court, making sure they stay out of trouble, do the schoolwork, keep getting better, getting recruited, by colleges. I don't care if it's Division III, NAIA, long they go to school for free. On the court, most importantly, be on the same page, and communication is a big key of everything I do. So if you don't communicate, I'm not a big fan. If you are late, I'm not a big fan. So basically, all the stuff we trying to do is prepare you not only to play college basketball, but for real life skills. And everything we do with basketball, you could say that we could do it in the real world. From not being late, teamwork, communication, outworking everybody. That's what those 50-50 balls are for. Yep.
Absolutely. So let's start from the very beginning. When did basketball start for you?
Basketball started for me probably around 11, 12 years old, but nothing serious, just playing outside in the park with friends and tagging along with my cousin, Mel C. He was older than me by 4 years, and, he played a lot of basketball, so I used to follow him and watch him and play, and really just glad to be outside, and not get in trouble,
Absolutely. So where did you grow up, and what was the basketball culture like over there?
I grew up in Lower East Side.
Okay.
Well diverse. It's a melting pot. We have every race that's possible in Lower East Side. So growing up, I grew up in the late 80s and 90s there, and it was very tough. And, at that time was heroin and the crack era. I saw a lot of crazy stuff. I saw a lot of, friends' parents that was on drugs, and, I'm in their house, but that's a long story. But, growing in Lower East Side, since I was a kid, and at that point, going to Lower East Side, I was blessed to have obviously my cousin Melvin C, and a lot of older guys in my neighborhood, Brian Young and Jason Williams. They played at Powell Memorial and the background picture. That's St. Francis.
Yeah. So
yeah,
you were talking about. Yeah, you were talking about growing up in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s. Go on.
Yeah. Yep. So you kind of broke up a little bit. I didn't really hear you. What you were saying?
Yeah, you were talking about the 80s and 90s.
Yes. So basically, just growing up, and you used to ask me where I'm from, and my neighborhood, and growing up in Lower East Side was very rough, and there's a lot of communities, a lot of boys clubs that I played for. Henry Street Settlement, Pitt Street Boys Club that's closed down, Henry Street and Pitt. The park, 134 Park. That was a famous 134 Park in Lower East Side on East Broadway and Montgomery. All the older guys would play, from Jason Williams, like I said, Brian Young, Miles Smith Fadden, Calvin Lamb. Calvin Lamb is Deron Lamb's father,
Hmm.
who played at Kentucky and played at an NBA. Deron Lamb's father. I mean, I used to watch them when I was a little kid. Calvin Lamb would come down, one dribble, two dribbles, and it's not a big court, but shoot from half court. You know what I'm saying? Jason will bring his Christ the King buddies down and played, and also, God rest in peace, Malik Sealy, Mark Jackson, all the St. John's guys, all NBA guys, and they'll play all day, and then they'll go shower and do what they gotta do, go get something to eat, and come back in the park and hang out and drink. I'm saying, till 4 or 5 in the morning, and I was blessed. I have regular friends around my age, but I was blessed that Jason and Brian, my cousin Mel, guys like that took me under the wing and said, you know what, we don't want you really hanging out with, in this crew. If you hanging out late at night, you stay in the park with us. You know what I'm saying? Even though they drinking, I'm in the park shooting around, hanging out. Not, but obviously I'm not drinking, but I'm shooting in the park. They want to make sure I was safe, and I went to the store for them. You know what I'm saying? So I was an errand boy, and that's how I made my money.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm blessed to really have older people in my neighborhood that took care of me, and I mean, it wasn't for them, it wasn't for a lot of people. I don't know if I'll be alive, to be honest with you.
So you were you a ball boy at one time?
I was a ball boy for Jason. Got me the job. Jason Williams. Got me the job. I was a ball boy for the Knicks, and when I was a ball boy for and I was ball boy for the Knicks, and the other ball boys that was with me, that we were working together. Believe it or not, was Manhattan coach Steve Masiello with me. Jackson's brother Troy Jackson, rest in peace, aka Escalade, was a ball boy, and believe it or not, on that staff. At that time, I mean, I know coach, but I didn't really know coach, was Rick Pitino.
Wow.
Yes. So me and coach go way, way back to those days, and Steve from Manhattan, and, obviously Troy, but Troy passed away,
Rest in peace, Escalade, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's our guy.
And shout out to Masiello. That's my dude.
Yep. Great dude.
So, what were some of your favorite tournaments to play in back in the day?
Favorite tournaments? I didn't have a favorite tournament. I was just lucky to get on, to be able to play. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, I started off playing with I just posted. I started playing with Brooklyn, USA, and the reason how I got on was because my cousin and a guy named Rob Matos, they both played at Bergtraum, and they both got on. Rob got on first. He's from Brooklyn. He got on with Tippy, Coach Tippy. And Rob and my cousin Mel were teammates at Murry Bergtraum High School. And Rob said, hey, tell Mel, come down. And me being me, I'm tagging along with my cousin Mel. And I went down with my cousin Mel for Brooklyn, USA. And at that time, it was called the Beverly Boys before it became Brooklyn, USA. Okay? I think a year later, whatever, 6 months, whatever it is, it became Brooklyn, USA. And, I mean, guys that are on my team that I play with, it was Shandu McNeil from the Lightning. This is like 7th, 8th grade. Shandu McNeil, Kevin Simmons. Kevin Simmons was like 6'8". I mean, Kevin Simmons was Kevin Durant before Kevin Durant. He was Lamar Odom before Lamar Odom. Kevin Simmons was nasty. There's a bunch of dudes. Booger, Sheldon Jefferson, Sherwin Anderson. Sherwin Anderson was supposed to be Kenny Anderson. I mean, everybody in that era knows Sherwin Anderson. Lefty, hander was crazy. You know what I'm saying? And, there's a bunch of dudes on that team. I probably was the worst one on the team. But, the one thing I always remember, another guy named Ziggy, Coach Ziggy from Brooklyn, USA. It was Coach Ziggy and Coach Tippy. They were both running Brooklyn, USA. I always remember. And Stephon Marbury was playing with us back then. And not knowing who Steph was really and how his whole family, his brothers played Division I ball. I didn't know about that. And they were so happy to get him. It was like they won a lottery ticket. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, Stephon Marbury's playing with us next week. And we all of us like, who was that? You know? You know what I mean? But we found out real fast who was that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You know, I mean, he was just, I mean, his work ethic was great. And I mean, he was young like us, and he didn't care. It was no ego. He'll carry the bags with the uniforms. I mean, Steph did everything, you know, just like us. But make a long story short, I always remember it to this day, and I saw Ziggy and Tippy 2 weekends ago on my birthday. I ran into them, and I always remember what Ziggy said to me when I was 12 years old, 12, 13 years old. He said, "You really ain't shit. So, you know, you can work as hard as you can. I don't think you're gonna be able to play college basketball." You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So, and I don't know if he meant to motivate me or not, but that always stuck with me. And I was very motivated, living Lower East Side, growing up being poor and not having nothing. I was very motivated. So that just gave me more fuel to the fire. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm 45 years old right now. I still remember that. You know what I'm saying? At that point, when as a little kid, I'm hurt. You know what I mean? But I'm glad he said that. You know what I mean? There was a lot of, and he wasn't the first one. There's a lot of doubters. There's a lot of doubters. You know what I mean? There's a lot of doubters. You know, there's a lot of doubters. But I went from playing with Brooklyn USA, then going to Madison Square Broncos. You know, is in Manhattan. Jason Williams played there. Brian Young played there. And Osman Fat. A lot of Lower East Side guys played there because it's close by. So I went there and I practiced, played, and you know, met a great coach named Gary Sims, who passed away. You know, I don't know if you know Gary Sims, big Brooklyn guy,
Yeah, I
great
remember
guy.
Gary Sims from Soul in the
Always
Hole.
Yes, always helping kids, and you know, ran into him and spoke highly. You know, just I always speak highly about Gary. Gary always trying to help kids, even the kids that were second, third chance, fourth chance. I was one of those kids, you know. But make a long story short, I was at Madison Square Broncos playing, and I wanted to go to Catholic school, and my parents couldn't afford for me to go to Catholic school. My brother went to Brooklyn Tech, so he went to Brooklyn Tech in Columbia. So I wanted to go to Catholic school, and I remember, rest in peace, another coach, Dr. Selly. He said, "You're not getting enough for me to pay your tuition." You know what I'm saying? You're not getting enough for me to pay your tuition. But, you know, he was right. They had Booger. They had Bam. They had Charles Jones. I mean, all those guys played, you know what I mean, around my era. You know what I'm saying? You know, and, you know, no, I'm not paying your tuition, you know? You know what I'm saying? Which was great. You know, another thing, I heard again, you know? So, you know, and I'm not saying at that point I was like saying I'm a pro or anything like that. You know what I mean? I just wanted a chance. You know what I'm saying? I wanted a chance and said basically, I'm not going to pay your tuition.
Hold on, Eddie. Yeah, go on.
So basically, Doc was like, I'm not paying your tuition. Cool. You know, so I'm like, okay. All right. Meanwhile, they paying everybody else's tuition. That's nice. You know what I mean? That's nice. And, you know, some of my kids, I'm like, man, I'm better than him.
Right.
You know? But whatever. So I decided to go down to Riverside to try out. So I told them, I'm going down to Riverside to try out. Oh, good luck. You know, maybe they could pay your tuition. Right? No,
brutal.
They all were back then. That's the best thing about growing up in the 80s and 90s around my era. There was no sugarcoating it. You know what I'm saying? They tell you how you feel. They don't like you. They don't mess with you.
Yeah.
Right? Not that they didn't mess with me, but he just wasn't going to pay my tuition, which is fine. So
9 times out of 10 today, you can't tell the kids that because they'll move on to somebody else. But I see that the old timers, they could care less because they had a short. There was no shortage of talent. Like kids kept coming to them.
Correct. So went down Riverside and tried out, made the team, and played a year. freshman year comes, I didn't really apply to any, schools. I didn't know the process. I didn't understand, there was SSP. I didn't understand there was sponsorship. I didn't understand none of that stuff. It was all brand new to me. And, like I said, my brother went to Brooklyn Tech, so he just took exams, said that's where he wants to go. I wasn't going that route, and I wasn't smart like my brother. So I just didn't really care about academics, beyond you. You know what I mean? So make a long story short, I went to Seward Park for almost
Okay.
Yeah, it's my local high school. It's my zone high school. That's from everybody in Lower East Side was going there. So if you didn't pick a school, or you wasn't getting accepted to any school, or you got kicked out of a school, you're going to Seward Park High School. That's the zone high school in Lower East Side. So I'm going way back. And zone high school in Lower East Side. I think Calvin Lamb went there and Mouse McFadden went there, but they never played high school basketball, and they still got a chance to play Division I ball, right? So I went there and I saw all my friends. I saw all my friends. So I saw my friends there. I mean, it's everybody there, from Smith Projects to LaGuardia Projects to Alphabetic City. The whole hood is in there. Chinatown's in there. I mean, every race. You can name every race, every gang, everybody that's from Lower East Side that couldn't get into high school was there, that attended. And when I say they there, that doesn't mean they going to class. So I went there for a month, and I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't go to class. I went to school. I was in the lunchroom. I was in the lunchroom hanging out the whole time. Went to 1 or 2 periods here and there.
Wow.
I just stood in the lunchroom. I just hung out in the lunchroom with all my friends, whether they're playing spades, whether they rolling dice. I was just hanging out, having fun. You know what I'm saying? Just being dumb. And so we had practice at Riverside, and Miss Lloyd just saying, well, I need to see everybody's report card. So I wound up showing him my report card, and he's like, Dad, what the F is this? All right. So I said, listen, I'm on my zone high school, and I'm going to school, but I'm not going to class. He said, what you mean by that? I'm in the lunchroom. I'm hanging out, basically, and I need to get out of there. I told him, I said, I need to get out of there. If I don't get out of there, I'm just like, I'm not even going to graduate high school. It's not the truth.
Wow.
So it's not the truth. So I had a good talk with him, and he goes, you really want to get out of it? He said, this is what I need you to do. This is what I need you to do. I need you to find a high school that's going to be able to accept you right now. This is probably beginning October. But let me rewind back. Before that, I could have went to Christ the King. I could have went to Christ the King because of Jason Williams and Brian Young. Their coach, Bob Believer, was still there. And he brought me down, and we visited Christ the King. I love Christ the King. But for some reason, I didn't go. I just, I went to Seward Park, right? And I bullshitted the whole process. And so Mr. Lloyd said, listen, find a school. I went to Henry Street Settlement, and I was dealing with the director at that time. His name was Orlando Mitchens. He was an ex-NFL player for the Giants and many other teams. Now he's the assistant coach at Citadel. Okay? So I spoke to Orlando. I said, I'm trying to find a school. Can you help me? A Catholic school, not public, Catholic. And Mr. Lloyd's is going to pay for it. He said, Mr. Lloyd's from Riverside? I said, why would he pay your tuition? I said, well, guys, he took a liking to me, and I asked him. So Orlando calls up Jack Curran from Archbishop Molloy and said, I got a young man who I want to introduce you to, and he needs to find a Catholic school. I think it'd be a great fit, even though he lives in Lower East Side. So I visited Molloy. Basically, didn't have no other option. I didn't know what I was getting myself into going to Molloy. It was at least a 50-minute F train ride from Lower East Side, East Broadway train station to Queens. So 50 minutes there, 50 minutes back. I'm in a shirt and tie every day. It's all boys school. All right, I'm probably the only person that's coming from Manhattan, from Manhattan, and I probably am. I probably was. And so I spoke to Mr. Lloyd, and he said, "All right, I'll pay your tuition." He said, "But if you get less than an 80 average, I will not pay your tuition no more."
Wow.
Right. So when I was there, Norm Roberts was the freshman coach, ex St. John's coach, assistant coach at Kansas. He was the freshman coach there at Molloy when I was there. Shandu McNeil was there, when I was there.
And this
I
is
was
1989, 1990?
No. This was, let me see. I was done at 94. So, yep, 89, 90.
Okay,
Yep.
1990.
So, yep. So I, not even 2 weeks going into it, I believe, good buddy of mine that I met is still one of my best friends to this day. I met him at the Broncos, Jason Hoover. Jason Hoover played at Manhattan College. But rewind that. Jason Hoover, we played against each other in junior high school. I went to junior high school 56 in Lower East Side, and he went to junior high school 104, which is called Baruch Middle School. Now, we played against them in junior high school, and I met him at the Broncos. We got close. He went to St. Anthony's High School with Bobby Hurley, senior, in Jersey City. And it was like we were Sean McLeod, all those guys. They were already nice. So make a long story short, the father wasn't a big fan at that time. I don't know what happened. But Jason, I remember speaking to Jason. He said, "Yo, my dad think about taking me out. What's up with your school?" I'm like, "What you mean what's up with school?" I said, "I'm trying to transfer." I said, "Well, the academics is tough. I'm a lawyer." You know what I mean? And so far at the time I know it was good basketball. Catholic school. We playing Christ the King. We playing Laughlin with all my friends and McClancy, all those schools, right? So he goes, "Well, I'm going to visit. I'm going to try to speak to the coach and try to come up there and visit next week." He visited next week. Next, he went to Molloy, right? And Jason was was living at the time at 35th Street. You know what I mean? So he's in Midtown. We were always catching the train there and coming back at the same time. That was my traveling buddy. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. And Jason wound up playing at Manhattan College. Obviously, his dad played at Villanova, was best friends with, rest in peace, John Thompson. They went to high school together. They played together. His dad played in the NBA, all kind of stuff, Hall of Fame, great dude. So that's like one of my dads, when I was growing up. Same thing now, I call Mr. Hoover all the time and Mrs. Hoover. They took care of me. So I've been fortunate to really have good people around me that actually like, you know what? Let me look out for him. I like him. Let me make sure he's he's going the right direction. Let me make sure, he got a meal. You know what I mean? I have a lot of people like that, and I think nowadays, this is my opinion, then the kids struggle this generation because a lot of coaches or some guys who call themselves coaches or mentors, or they call them the big brothers, they don't tell them the truth, like you said. They scared to tell the truth, not because of because they're gonna fight. I think they're scared to tell the truth because they want to be their boys. They want to be their friends.
That's true. That's another reason.
You know what I'm saying? That's another reason. That's right. And that's why a lot of kids nowadays, this generation, they're very sensitive. Very, very sensitive. But, it is what it is. It's a different generation. So, they got different kind of, drugs nowadays that for these kids. Not like we grew up in the heroin and crack. They grew up right now. Everybody can smoke weed and I mean, whatever they doing, pills or whatever they doing. I don't even know what they doing these days. You know what I mean?
Pills, Molly, lean.
Yeah, whatever that. Yeah, so I'm so behind. Yep. Yeah. So that's that part of that question. Yep.
Yeah. So talk about playing for the late great Jack Kern.
Got you. So I wound up playing for my first year. I wound up playing JV with this guy named Mr. Fouché.
Okay.
I never got a chance to play for Coach Curry. But when I got to Molloy, I played JV, and I missed the first 10 games. I missed the first 10 games because academic-wise, I was one of the only few kids I hung around. All my friends went to public school, like I said. They all went to Seward, Norman Times, wherever, Bertram. And I didn't really have no friends that went to Catholic school. So when I went to Catholic school, and I'm not blaming on them, but when I went to Catholic school, I went to school. I was late at times. There's like probably 50% of the time I was late, just traveling. That travel was a long travel, but really because I wasn't disciplined enough. I wasn't really ready. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared academic-wise. I wasn't prepared. I mean, I came home. I changed my clothes and I put on jeans and sweatshirt, whatever it was.
You was right outside after that.
I was outside hanging out with my friends.
Right.
Instead of buckling down and studying like my guy Shandu McNeil and Jason Hoover and guys like that. I didn't know how to manage my time. Everybody kept saying time management. I'm like, what you mean by time management? You know what I mean? I'm saying to myself, but I really didn't want to say it out loud because I might have sounded stupid at that time. I really didn't know. But really, it's like I didn't know how to. I'm just being real. I didn't know how to. I love basketball. Be a student athlete. Dave.
Yeah,
I got you back.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know how to be a student athlete at the time. You know what I mean? So, Coach Kern was the best. Coach Kern still believed in me and still stayed on me, and he was always on me in a good way. He never really screamed on me. Just like he my last name is Lau, L-A-U, Eddie Lau. He never called me Eddie Lau. He called me Eddie Wow.
Wow.
Not because he didn't know my last name. Coach Kern was very, very smart, great guy. You know what I mean? Father figure, one of the best. I mean, probably the best that I've been around. And I'm not talking about X and O's as a person. Call me Eddie Wow. I remember, I'm in his office and, his little refrigerator always to the right. You got to get your vitamin C's to eat. And he's, I believe he was shaving. But he had the door open and the phone kept ringing. And it kept ringing. He said, Eddie, wow, you not pick up the phone. I said, pick up the phone. It's a great story here. I picked up the phone and it was, I said, it's Coach Kern's office. Who's calling? He goes, it's Coach Dean Smith. Right? It's honest truth. That was his guy from UNC, North Carolina. I said, Coach, it's Coach Dean Smith. He goes, did you tell him you want to get recruited by UNC? So he always had jokes like that, Coach Kern. So meanwhile, he know I wasn't never going to pay UNC, but he's always had jokes, right? And I said, no. So I put the phone, I said, well, he's on the phone, right? He said, I'll be there. And just start talking. Coach was always funny like that. I mean, there's so many stories, even we'll go on it because I know you got a lot of questions, but there's so many stories. And when I got older, when I was in junior college, and it's even before he died. I mean, Coach was, to this day, I still have his phone number in my phone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yep. There's a couple of people that passed away, like Gary Sims and Coach Curran. I still have their phone numbers in my phone. He didn't have a cell phone, obviously.
Yeah.
Back then they really was. But I have his number that was at the house. In an office number, because I used to always call him. To when I was struggling, I used to always call him and ask him for advice. And he always gave me positive advice and hang in there, keep working, don't give up. It's not basketball. It's your academics. You know what I'm saying? Tom Kinchowski was the same thing.
Yeah.
Tom Kinchowski, the same thing. He went to Molloy. So here's a great story. So I I share this with you and everybody else because I want these kids to know I'm nowhere near perfect. Right? I'm nowhere near perfect. But the thing about me separate from other people, I'm consistent and I'm going to outwork you. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna do it the right way, and I'm a go-getter. Okay. So I believe it was Slam Magazine. back then that just came out. It was something like that. It was Slam or Sports Illustrated. It was one of those magazines. So I used to be in class. I used to be in class sometimes, put it underneath my notebook and read it, the magazine, the sports magazine. Or maybe Streets and Smith. And one of the teachers caught me and told Coach Curran. told Coach Curran. So he's like, Eddie, wow, what are you doing? I think it's history, whatever. What are you doing? You can't be doing that. You got to stay. So make a long story short, he told Tom Konchowski that I was reading that magazine. So I guess he wanted to tell Mr. Konchowski to talk to me. So Mr. Konchowski talked to me one day. He was like, you got to stop reading those magazines in class. You got to focus on studying and paying attention. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it was, for all boys school, you know what I mean? It was, I had a great time.
Yeah.
You know, it was culturally diverse too. I mean, you know, to a certain point, I should say, so there was a lot of whites, but it was, you know, good percentage of blacks, and Chinese was a handful. You know, I mean, it's good. It was good for me. You know, it was good for me at the time. Yep.
Shout outs to Tom K and the late great Jack Kern.
Yes.
So
what
ended up why did you end up leaving Molloy?
I leave in Molloy because basically, you know, to be honest with you, at that point I was like, I wasn't ready for, you know, to be that disciplined, you know, with the academic piece, you know, and I wasn't focused. So I wound up leaving just because I didn't think it was the right fit at that time for me. And looking back at it, I said, man, I should have stayed. It would have been the best thing for me. I should have really not even worry about basketball, worry about just the books, you know. And I wasn't disciplined enough to focus on that, you know. There was a lot of stuff going on in my home, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the neighborhood, and you know, I was just really being young, you know, and at times listen to people, and at times trying to do a lot of stuff on my own, and you know, had to learn the hard way. Yeah, that's the reason why I didn't finish up at Molloy. Yeah.
So where did you go
John
after?
Magnum, I know you know. I know you know John Magnum. John Magnum was there too.
Yeah.
John Magnum. Yeah.
John he was Magnum there too.
Yeah, okay. He was there when I was there. Yeah. John was there. You know, John used to shoot that thing. You know, he had the same long arms, and he's just probably 100 pounds lighter. But he was there, and I used to play with John in, you know, Lost Battalion and a bunch of other places. I wound up. How about this one? I wind up again. Wound up going back to Henry Street Settlement and Pitchy Boys Club, and was trying to go boarding school. Right. I was trying to go to boarding school. Boarding school was not big like now. Back then, the Boys Club, sent a lot of kids to boarding school, and I was like, I gotta get out of New York City. It's bad. It's, you know, it's crazy. You know, like I know why I was messing up. There's too much distractions, right? So I tried to do the boarding school stuff. Couldn't get in. Couldn't. My academics wasn't good enough. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't good enough to get in, and you know, it wasn't going to take, you know, a 5. At the time, I was probably 5'7", 5'8" Chinese kid trying to play basketball. You know what I'm saying? So it was different. You know, people don't realize, you know, there was a lot of challenges growing up Lower East Side, and it's still a big perception that, you know, to this day, that Asian guys can't play basketball, or, you know, or be around basketball. You know what I'm saying? You know, but make a long story short, I couldn't get into boarding school. So there was a coach that was coming from South Dakota and came to recruit 2 or 3 kids to go to South Dakota to go to high school and live with him. It was in so they had an open workout at Hershey Settlement, and you know, I don't know this at times, but you know, guard is a dime a dozen. You know, there's so many guards, right? Everybody's always looking for a big. So make a long story short, we play. I thought I played pretty good in the open run, and they picked two other kids. One of them name was Fontaine Sortes from Lower East Side. He was about 6'6", Fontaine Sortes. And the other kid they picked was Rob Apache Pascal. And both of them are childhood friends. Rob Apache Pascal, everybody know him as Apache, really for Exodus basketball. Okay? And we could go on to another question later. Exodus basketball started playing with me and Apache. We started playing Patrick his program. It was boys basketball first, with Kareem Porter, Spider, Devon Martinez. He's the head coach at ASA, aka Spider. He was on that team. Me, us three, and Fontaine. There's a bunch of guys. Later on, Apache brought Booger around. It started with us. It was no girls basketball, Exodus basketball. But we go back to that later. So the coach picked those two guys to go to South Dakota. I wound up calling the coach, got the number from the coach where he was staying at the hotel in South Dakota. And, like I said, I was very persistent. I said, Coach, I really need to get out of here. Boarding school is not going to take me. You know what I mean? And this is probably my last chance I could go somewhere. So he said, I like how you play, let me talk to my wife. When I get back to South Dakota, let me talk to my wife. Give me about 24 to 48 hours, and I'll reach out back to you. Meanwhile, my friends is on the bus. Fontaine Sortes and Apaches, they're on the bus from New York to South Dakota. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So I think I kept calling his house in South Dakota. His wife, rest in peace, he passed away, but John Jordan. I kept calling him from South Dakota. I said, Coach, I got to go. Basically, I was like, yo, I need your help. Help me.
Help me.
Yeah. So I was persistent enough where he convinced his wife to take me. Okay. It's in Rapid City, South Dakota. I wound up getting a plane ticket. I believe Jason Williams got me a plane ticket. Said, last second, I paid for it. You go. So as I landed in South Dakota, Rapid City, coach was like, yo, your boys going to be mad at you. I said, why? I'm here. He said, no, they've been on a bus for 3 or 4 days. And whatever it was, say? They've been on a bus from New York to South Dakota. They've been on a bus and they pissed. And you just got here, on a plane. So I got there and, they was mad at me. But, the first day, not the first day. The second day, we went to a fitness gym. Coach brought us to a fitness gym, like one of them health club, and we was playing basketball. Me, Fontaine, Apache, and we playing 5-on-5. And mind you, the CBA team, Rapid City Thrillers, was in the same city where I was staying at the time. But that's not where the school's at. I'm gonna get to that point. We wound up playing the open gym. And me and Eric Musselman, who's the head coach at Arkansas, he was the head coach for the CBA at the time. I think he was like 24, 25 years old. We got into it. Okay? We got into it. Got into it. Because, he was small, he was feisty. And I was small, I was feisty. I was coming from New York City. So basically, he was trying to punk me. And, trying to punk me and at that time, like, I didn't care who you were. You're not gonna bully me. Basically, that's the word nowadays we use. Not gonna bully me. And I went back at him, and we go back and forth, and almost came to a fist fight. And my coach broke it up, and we became friends ever since.
I would have paid to have seen that fight.
Yeah, we became friends ever since. Shelton Jones from St. John's was on that team, the CBA team. He was an all-star that year. Craig Neal, a.k.a. Noodles. He's with Steve Alford now in Nevada, assistant coach. So he was on that team. They're older guys. So fast forward this. So the school that they got us going to, check this out. So Henry Street Settlement had a guy named John Jordan came and recruit the kids to go to a school in South Dakota. Probably never did their research. Okay? So, and I'm not even mad at Coach, but Coach Jordan, is that the school was in an Indian reservation. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
So we thinking we go to like a nice Catholic school, or maybe even a public school, right? Where it's civilized to a certain point. We went to a school in South Dakota,
Mm-hmm.
in Pine Ridge, South Dakota.
Right.
Pine Ridge. This is an Indian reservation.
Mm-hmm.
You thought it was bad you thought it was bad in New York City? You thought going to projects, one staircase be pissy, or one staircase people be shooting heroin, the other staircase they shooting crack. In an Indian reservation, and I never knew this, at least me, because I never been there, I never visited. You know, it was very, very high percentage rate of kids on drugs and alcohol and everything.
Wow.
Suicide, adults raping young teenagers. I mean, it was wild. It's some wild stuff.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And you know, when I got there, it was a shock. It was like a movie. And I'll tell you this quick story real quick, and you'll be like, "There's no way." You know what I mean? Patchy can't tell you this obviously because he's not alive no more. But Fontaine's alive. Fontaine Sauter's alive, and you know, if you ever ask, just call him and say, was this ever true? He'll be like, yo, it was wild. So the first night we got to our coach house in Pine Ridge, South Dakota, in the Indian reservation. Mind you, my coach is white. Mad cool. My coach is white. I'm with two of my black friends.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, two of my black friends. And the first night we stood at my coach house, so that's where we staying over. And a pickup truck pulled up in front of our house. It was about like 10 guys. 10 guys from the reservation with bats and hammers and chains. It's like a movie. I still remember to this day. Was like, yo, what are you guys doing here? Type. Like, this is our home. This is our land. No, I'm for real, Dave. This is my land. This is our land. This is our land. Like, thinking that we trying to take away their property or whatever it is. So we being young, we have no idea. So we about to get it on, and cops came, and coach stopped it. It was wild. And you know, they fighting for their territory.
They think y'all trying to take over.
Yeah. So this goes back in the days when, it's crazy. Christopher Columbus today, when they took their land. Right? It's crazy. We doing it on Christopher Columbus. We're talking about this today. And make long story short, my coach got fired in December, and I had to move. He said, "Who wants to move me to Rapid City," which is where he was really staying at with his wife. And he said, so I said, "I'm out."
In Iowa.
Apache in South Dakota.
Okay.
Apache left in Apache left Christmas. He took a Christmas break, and Coach got fired in January. He took a Christmas break. Apache said, "I'm going home." Left all of his stuff at school, at the house. Never came back. Me and Fontaine stayed. So Apache Coach wind up getting fired in January. Excuse me. And was like, so who wants to stay here and who wants to help me to Rapid City? I said, "I'm out. I don't know nobody here. I'm out. I'm going with you."
Home. Okay.
I'm Rapid City.
Right.
A couple hours away from the reservation. Coach Fontaine stayed. He got close with the next door neighbor. Their family took care of him, and he wanted to stay with them. He stayed at the reservation. I moved to Rapid City. Coach put me at a school called Rapid City Christian High School. Right? I wound up finishing up there, playing there. And one of my teammates' name is Matt Hammond. I don't know if you remember the last name Hammond. It does ring a bell. sister's is assistant coach in the NBA right now. Becky Hammond.
Oh wow.
Matt was on my team. We were teammates. Matt, I stayed with my coach, and I stayed with a family named Brian, the O'Neills, Brian O'Neill. You know, Brian played with me and Matt on the same team, and Matt's family originally from Connecticut, and me and Matt was on the same team. And I used to stay at Matt's house all the time, and we used to play ball. We used to do a lot of stuff together, you know, all kind of stuff. And, you know, they took care of me, you know, took care of me. And Becky was young at the time. I think she was a freshman. And, you know, she was always a great athlete, played softball, basketball. Their whole family was into sports. But she was very good at an early age. But, you know, in South Dakota, looking back, they never really get a lot of respect for basketball at that time. You know, at that time. There's a guy who made it named Eric Pikowski, who played in Nebraska and NBA, and, you know, his brothers. But we played in a corn palace where Mike Miller's from. Literally built, the whole gym is built by corn. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There was a lot of good players out there, but just, I think there was another kid, he was a senior when I played. We didn't play against him, but they used to talk about him a lot. Jason Sullivan. He wound up going to University of Missouri. White kid, he had like a 40, 50-inch vertical. You know what I mean? About 6'1". So they was never known for basketball, South Dakota. And now it's a little, you know, more than ever. But they was never known for basketball. And you know, it was a journey. Going to the reservation, not knowing it's an Indian reservation, not knowing that they are struggling down there. I thought I had it really bad, but I felt really bad. They had it really bad down there, and I still stay in touch with some people out there, and, you know, from time to time, you know, we'll talk, or I see them on Facebook. You know, very different, and mind you, they wasn't really too happy with the other two, my friends who was there, who was African American, obviously. For me, they didn't really bother me too much because I don't know if you know, but a lot of Indian, I almost look almost like them. Besides, they got the cheekbones is higher. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I could pass for being
one of them.
You know, Indian. Yeah, one of the Native Americans. Let's say one of the Native Americans. And but Fontaine and Patchy, we'll go to games, and sure, they'll say a lot of racist comments, you know, but, you know, they didn't know what we didn't know what we was getting into. They didn't know why we was out there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We was just trying to get out, you know, the ghetto, the we had a, you know, that poverty was, I mean, it was bad. It was bad out there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was quite a culture shock. But growing up in New York City, you know, we do a lot of stuff, a lot of cultures. So it was shocking in the beginning. Then they got to accept us. We got to accept them. But by that time, it was time for us to leave because the coach got fired. Well, and you know, Patchy left. He went home. He didn't want to deal with it. And Fontaine stayed. You know, Fontaine wound up staying and wound up getting a scholarship later on at Weber State. You know, Division I scholarship, and actually, you know, had the next door neighbor's daughter they was dating, and had 2 kids from them. And you know they older. I think one of them played football in New Mexico right now, University of New Mexico. But Fontaine played Division I ball, what he wished for, he dreamed about. Played at Weber State, and I think the first tournament he played at was against Purdue, Glenn Robinson, and he got in real late, garbage time, and maybe early, got dunked on by Big Dog. And everybody that know him was laughing. I'm like, shit, he got dunked by Big Dog. You crazy? Like, you know, he's nice. You know, yep. So that was that question. Sorry, man, I had to keep going.
No, that's cool. Don't worry about
it. Yeah.
But so you graduated from Rapid City Christian?
No. So
you went to school in North Carolina. Okay.
Yeah. So my coach got fired. Finished up that season, that school year at Rapid City. Then, when the season was over, I had to move back to New York City. I had an opportunity to come back, and I said, nah, it's not really for me. my coach is not going to be here. It was cool for the time being. I'm going back to New York City. I go back to New York City. I didn't enroll in school for the first 2 weeks in September, and my coach said, "Hold on, give me another week. I'm almost about to finalize to get this job in North Carolina, and if I get this job, you coming with me, because I owe you that to at least finish high school." You know what I mean? He was like a father figure, to me, and he knew what I was going through. He knew how much I wanted to get out of New York City, how much I needed to graduate. You know what I mean? So he took it upon himself to say, you know what, I'm gonna make sure you at least graduate. And he got the job in Concord, North Carolina, a school called First Assembly Christian High School. He got the job and got my ticket and sent it for me. And I wound up going down there, wound up playing for him. Concord's a little city outside Charlotte, off of Highway 601. And I wound up going to Concord, to Christian school. But basketball is a small world. I met a lot of friends, at the YMCA playing, at the playground, wherever, and just basketball. And I ran into and met, to this day, a really good friend of mine from down there, Oshawa Benjamin. Concord High School was a team that was nice. Like, they had all the Division I players. And it's really like a local Seward Park, but zone high school, but they're all from Concord, right? And down there, down south, they call it, the hood. And they told me they call it the bottoms, right? So most of the inner city, the 6'6" point guard. 6'6" point guard. You probably know his son now. His son's a freshman right now, Jalen Benjamin. He's a sophomore at UAB. Okay. Yep. They had Kenyon Weeks, who believe was a sophomore at the time. Kenyon Weeks was about 6'7", wing. He wound up going to Fork Union and went to University of Florida and played with Mike Miller, went to the Final Four. You know what I'm saying? So Concord always had players. So anybody who knows about North Carolina and down south around that area, they're like, yo, Concord always had players. It was a famous person who used to race cars. Her daughter was in my class, down in Charlotte, down on Concord. Tag, I gotta get you the name. They got a big track for racing cars out there in Concord. Speed track place. Then I wound up playing there, and don't have a really good senior year. Averaged something like 29 points a game. I had one really good game where, we played and I was pretty on fire, and I think I had 30-something points at halftime. And coach was like, yo, everybody gotta keep giving Eddie the ball so he could break the record. So I wound up breaking the record that year. In one game, I scored 70 points in 1 year.
Wow.
Yes. So, and not that I was nice, just I don't know, I was lucky. I was on fire, and coach stuck with me and just said, guys, that was his thing to give back to me. And it made a big thing, headlines everywhere. I got made Sports Illustrated, face the crowd, all that great stuff. And obviously helped my recruiting, and yeah, that was the biggest moment. One of finishing up there. And, we played against Mount Zion Prep when it was just coming up. Joe Hopkins, who was one of the guys who coached Tracy McGrady and all those Division I players, we used to play against them. I mean, he was just coming up, and they had players. And he was just like, yo, you got game. Yo, I gotta get some kids from New York City. You know what I'm saying? So, it was messed around playing some tournaments with Charlotte Royals, the AU team out of Charlotte. I used to ride with Kenyon Weeks and Oshawa Benjamin from Concord. They used to pick me up, and we'll go play at Charlotte Royals or any other any other tournaments they have out there. No, man, that's like good friends. You know, guy named Kilo, like guy named Kilo, guy Rayvon Ferris, who played at Western Kentucky. My man Ray Kowalski. It was a small world. I wound up just helping his son 2 years ago get to junior college and then University of Denver.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I finished up at First Assembly Christian High School in North Carolina.
Shout out to the First Assembly Christian School class of 1994.
Yep. Class of 1994. How about that? Wow. We in 2020.
So 26 years.
Yeah. That's interesting. A lot of time. You know,
so
time flies too.
Talk about college. How was your recruitment back then?
You know, I had some schools, Citadel, Western Carolina, North Carolina State wanted me to walk on. You know, nothing crazy. I wasn't really getting recruited. You know, nothing crazy. And you know, hurt me also. I didn't really do school my first couple of years. My academics wasn't great, so it hurt me. And I wanted to go to do my postgraduate school at a prep school.
Okay.
It didn't work. It didn't work out. So I wound up a school called Champlain College wound up recruiting me and offered me a scholarship. They were a junior college in Vermont, Division I junior college. Excuse me. If anybody know East Coast junior college, there wasn't no Division I junior college in East Coast at that time had scholarships besides Champlain. Champlain Junior College was in Vermont, Burlington, Vermont, near St. Michael's College, near University of Vermont. They have scholarships. So I wound up getting a full scholarship there. You know, when I was a freshman there, Jason Curry was maybe a junior at St. Mike's or maybe a senior. Jason Curry, you know Jason Curry from New York City.
Big Apple basketball.
Yep, Big Apple. He was there. So I used to catch rides with him home from Vermont on a break. Like, if there's a long weekend.
So you were saying about Champlain Junior College?
They had a budget cut, and they couldn't give me a full scholarship at the time because they didn't have the money. So they told me to take a loan out, and I said no, I'm not taking a loan out. So I called Mr. Leutch. I said I need a junior college. I'm not taking a loan out. You know what I mean? I don't want to owe money. And he got me to a school called Trinidad State Junior College in Colorado. Good friend of mine at the time named Sheree Valentine played on Hollows. He went there. That was one of Mr. Leutch's hookups. The coach there, Coach Jim Topo. He that for a while. He'd been sending players. Rod Strickland's older brother went there, I was told, and Spencer Haywood played there back in the days, and Derek Lawson. Derek Lawson, who used to play ball with Speedy and Williams. He went there. There's a bunch of New York guys who went there. You know what I'm saying? So, and I wound up going out there to Trinidad State Junior College because they offered me a full scholarship. And third game of the season, I got hurt.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Third game of the season, I got hurt. And I hurt my knee really bad. I didn't tear it, but I hurt it so bad that I was going to be out for shoot. I mean, we played that game. We played it against Barton County. I forgot my man's name. But they played Barton County, and they had a kid wanting to go to Michigan, and I hurt my knee, and got back to school, and I was probably gonna be out for whole first semester in December. So I said, you know what? I told Coach Tope, I said, you know what? He said, you could either red shirt, maybe get a medical red shirt, or finish up and play. So I said, I didn't even know what a medical red shirt was, to be honest with you. He explained it. I said, you know what? Since I didn't do my postgraduate, I said, I think I should do it. Sorry, somebody just tried to call. I said, I'm gonna do a medical red shirt. So I got a medical red shirt that year. I wound up still graduating from junior college and had 3 years at a 4-year school. Okay. I wound up going to this lodge I call South Alabama. It's crazy how small this world is. Eric Musselman's father was the head coach at South Alabama at the time. Okay. He wound up calling South Alabama for you. My freshman year at Champlain, there was a shooter named Brian McGovern. He went to South Alabama. So when Miss Loyce called, I spoke to Coach Musselman and visit the school and everything, and loved it. I said, yo, you know what? I even had no options. So I was like, you know what? It's Division I school. I'll take it. But one of my child friends named Kareem Holmes from Lower East Side.
Mm-hmm.
He was attending Trinity Portland and signed with Quinnipiac. Yeah, signed with Quinnipiac. He said, yo, they need a point guard. They want to fly you in. Why don't you at least come take a visit and come hang out with me? This is in Connecticut. So I said, I spoke to a guy named Bill Mecca, Coach Mecca. He said, I'm going to fly you in. I said, all right, no problem. I'll come. I come fly in, play in an open gym. He loved me. He played at DeMatha, right? Played at Niagara. He loved me. He said, I'm offering you a scholarship right now. That night, me and Kareem hanged out, we partied. And I said, Kareem, come on, man, you need to come fuck with me. I said, you really want me to come, man? He goes, yo, Ed, I want you to come. And I was a point guard, so obviously, we child friends. He grew up on Lower East Side, not having nothing. He's like, I want you to come. And that night, he convinced me. I said, you know what? I'm going to tell Coach tomorrow morning before I fly back out. I'm coming to Quinnipiac. They were just going Division I, Quinnipiac. Okay? They were just going Division I. Bill Mecca, Matt Bassett was assistant coach. He was just assistant. He was just the AD at Binghamton and Lemoyne.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So 2 weeks before school started in August, Bill Mecca, the head coach who signed us, resigned and became the assistant athletic director at Quinnipiac. So I'm thinking Matt Bassett is going to get the job. He's assistant, also recruit us. They didn't give him the job. They get a guy named Joey DeSantis, who came from St. John's, New York guy from the Bronx, played at Time, played at Fairfield, old Italian guy, Riverside guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's recruiting us back to Quinnipiac. So I'm the new coach. And I always remember this line. He said to me, he said, if you need $1, I'm going to give you 50 cents. Okay? So in certain ways, I guess he meant looking out for us in certain ways, halfway, whatever. But he convinced Mr. Lloyd to say that I'm going to take care of Eddie. He'll be fine. Right? So I wound up going there, playing there. Loved Quinnipiac. It was Quinnipiac College back then. It was not university.
Mm-hmm.
We played on campus. Burt Kahn's gym. It was called a Burt Kahn Gymnasium. I love this school. I love the campus. I love it was outside New Haven. I love is in Hamden. I love how I could get back and forth home when I needed to. Right? He wasn't really big fan of. It's crazy because he's from New York. He wasn't really a big fan of us New York kids. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't really a big fan of us. When Coach Mecca signed me, he signed me to come in and start as a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
They had a kid named Rich who was a senior. I was sophomore basketball, I was junior academic. And Rich was a senior, and basically he knew Rich couldn't get it done, so he signed me to start. Joey DeSantis didn't feel that way. And I always play really good, play hard. I believe it was my second game against University of New Haven.
Mm-hmm.
Guy at that time name was Ben Dixon Jr. His name is Cordair something right now. I forgot. I'm sorry, Cordair's last name, but he's a principal in Brooklyn, one of these middle school great dudes. He used to play at Bishop Ford High School with Charles Jones and Winston Gordon, who's very good. That was around our age. But make long story short, we played against University of New Haven, and I must have like 15 and 10 coming off the bench. They was pressing us, and our point guard couldn't break the press for some reason. My parents just and I'm like, man, he got to start me now. You know what I'm saying? He got to start me now.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't happen. Didn't happen. I don't think he was a big fan of mine. Then what happened was also, I remember I lived in Quinnipiac. Lamar Odom was a senior, finished out his high school season in Connecticut.
Right.
Okay, with a high,
97.
yeah. But Patrick Sellers, who's where's Pat at now? Fairfield. Patrick Sellers, assistant coach. Jerry DeGorio was the head coach. He was living with Jerry DeGorio. Lamar Odom was living with Jerry DeGorio. And Jerry DeGorio wound up becoming University of Rhode Island's head coach later on, right? But going back now, when Lamar was living with Jerry DeGorio, he used to hate staying there. So he wound up, me and him got cool and got close. He wound up staying with me in my room. Me and Kareem Holmes were roommate. He wound up staying in my bed. You know, the nights when he came over, we'll play, we'll hang out. I wound up staying, one of my friends' house, one of my female friends' place. You know what I'm saying? So he could stay there. And there was times the first time to drive him back, I had to drive Lamar back. And this all connects the dot. I had to drive Lamar back to Connecticut to his high school coach's house. And there's really no cell phones and there was no GPS. And he's like, we driving on a highway. He's like, yo, this look familiar. None of that shit looked familiar. So by the time we finally found his place to get off the exit, we was like 5 hours like late. So finally got him there. Got Lamar there back. This is the first time Lamar stayed with us. Coach DeSantis said, I got back to my room. I had a 1996 Honda Accord.
Mm-hmm.
I got that coming out of high school. Flip lights, And I remember my manager was there waiting for me at the room in my dorm room. He's like, yo, where you been, man? Coach looking for you. I'm like, for what? So, yo, people been calling, talking about you with Lamar, and he's been late, and they looking for him. The coach wants you to go down to the office. I said, I walked down there.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, what's up? He said, nah, why do you have this kid late back? He had a curfew. Do you know he's the number one player in the country? Do you know that he's worth this, that, and that much money in the world?
Mm-hmm.
His high school coaches complain. Do you know he's connected with Sonny Vaccaro and Gary Charles? Big plays in the game, basically, right? So I know Gary from heard a name from the Panthers when I was playing, but nothing crazy because Rafer played for them. My best friend played for them, and for a couple of tournaments. So I said, all right, and he said, you don't understand, like, this kid's worth a lot of money. Like he going to school in Connecticut for a reason, so he could get away from all the attraction. He said, go put on some sneakers and change. I said, change for what? He said, you're going to run for bringing him back late.
Wow.
Right? So he made me ran suicide. The one thing that I was always blessed, even if I hang out to 5, 6 in the morning and party, I could always get up and still run and not throw up. Okay? There was only one time my freshman year, but that's a make a long story short, I did some stuff that I wasn't supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's the reason why I threw up. So he ran me. He ran me, and then he's like, and then he just stopped. He said, yo, man, you have that kid come over, make sure he get back to his place on time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he didn't want no problems.
He didn't want, because at that time, Adidas was coming up. We were wearing Adidas at that time. We wasn't a big school, so we got some stuff. But, I didn't know what was Sonny about. I didn't know what Gary about. And not saying nothing bad. I just didn't know how powerful they were. I didn't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They were protecting Lamar Odom. You know what I'm saying? Which is, I understand that, but I didn't know.
He was an investment to them.
I mean, there was one of the kids. I don't even as an investment. I didn't know, at the time, whether it's agents, whether it's they trying to sign him to a shoe deal. You know what I'm saying? I don't know none of that stuff. I was a college kid trying to play Division I ball and thought I was trying to get to the NBA. I wound up not going, but I wound up, playing in China and playing a lot of other places. You know what I mean? But, I didn't know the whole agent business, how it worked. How there was so much money going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had no idea. I didn't know who Sonny Vaccaro was until years later. You know, when I did my research, and then when I really got down with the Panthers, that's when I really got to know Sonny.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you know, we'll fast forward that. We'll talk about that later.
Later on down the line.
I know, yeah, that's gonna be another question. That's how all this stuff connects dots too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's gonna connect. Go ahead.
But yeah, Quinnipiac. So what happened with like the ending of Quinnipiac? Like, what made you have to leave Quinnipiac?
Well, the end of the day, I was in the doghouse. Joey DeSantis didn't fuck with me. Bottom line, and he had to get rid of me first. He didn't renew my scholarship, and you know, I at that time I stayed in touch with also a guy named Shea Berry. You know, Shea Berry's at St. Mike's now. He used to be at Hunter College as a head coach. He helped me out. He helped me out this whole process from high school and on too, trying to always help me with high schools and help me out with academics and blah blah blah. And so I called Shea up, and then what really got me was when I called Bobby Gonzalez. Coach Gonzalez. I know Coach Gonzalez when I was at Riverside. He was a coach in the Town High School, JV, with one of our good buddies, Kareem Reed. So I coached Coach G. I said, Coach G, I got to find a new school. They're not going to renew my scholarship. Can you help me? Reaching for help. Shea Berry, reaching for help. Bobby Gonzalez, everybody reaching for help. And Coach G was like, yo, go to Buffalo State. You go with my guy, Dick Beard. I'll play for him. That's my guy. He'll take care of you. Right? This is my senior year academic, junior year basketball-wise. Okay? So I went up there, did the whole preseason training, all that stuff. I was just kind of already like, I don't know if it was burnt out. I was just like, man, I'm not playing this shit. This is not like where I was at Quinnipiac. This was not like when I was junior college. Buffalo State would have all the kids from New York City there, basically. And I wasn't really feeling. Not that they were anything, they did anything to me. I was just already burnt out. I was just ready to just graduate. You know what I'm saying? So I came home after class Thursday. I came home Thursday night, and I left Sunday morning. Every red eye for the whole year. I just didn't play. I just went to school, graduated, and got out. You know what I'm saying? And I wound up later on. You know, when I got out, I wound up playing, 2 years in, in Taiwan. I came in the year Abdul Fox left. Andre Riddick was there, who I knew from Bishop Lockwood days and played at Kentucky. I played there, and then I wanted to go to play a place in China and, a couple of places, and then I just stopped. I just played for fun, in neighborhood.
Shout out to the Buffalo State graduating class of 1998. Even though you didn't play ball there, I know Buff State was a big party school. Talk about Buffalo, the city of Buffalo.
Oh my God! First a guy named Fardree Ansari is from Queens. He was the mission guy at that time, and he had a really good team in Buffalo High School. Coach Leonard Stokes, who went to Cincinnati, was played that year with Kenny Satterfield. That year they all came out. He was the player of the year in New York City, in New York. But Fardree was the mission. Yeah, Fardree was the mission guy for Buff State from Queens. Really, really nice guy. And that's why I say I've been really blessed to have a lot of people that cared. I always said, listen, Ed, I know you go home every weekend. You better graduate. You got to graduate. You got to get your degree. You know what I'm saying? Forget about basketball. And now he's the head coach at Buffalo State. You know what I'm saying? So, but make a long story short, Buffalo, I mean, it was cool. But at times I was homesick in certain ways because I didn't upstate. I was ready to be done. I was just sick of school. You know what I'm saying? I moved around a lot. And I'm just like, I'm just get tired of shit. I'm ready to move. I just want to get my degree. I go to sleep. It's not snowing. I wake up. The snow will be like 10, 12, 15 inches. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I'm done. I'm ready. I'm ready to get out. So I wind up my second semester, I came home a lot. I was just like, I'm just ready to be done. I came home. I used to miss this Friday class on my second semester he used to miss his class. And I thought I did enough work to just pass the class, and I didn't. Second semester, I wound up failing this one class. So I got really lucky. I talked to the chairman person of communication, and I reached out to him face to face. I said, I need this class to graduate, but I'm not going to be able to come back for summer school. Because basically after that summer, basically, I was going to leave to go to China to play ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I wound up convincing him to let me do an internship. So Shea Berry was working at 5-Star with Howard Garfinkel, Lee Klein, Mr. Klein. So Shea Berry wound up speaking to the director of my major in my department. And basically, I was doing an internship for 5-Star basketball camp to get those 3 credits to graduate. So I didn't have to go back to Buffalo State to graduate. Thank God. Not that I'm not I'll go visit, but I was ready to come back towards the city.
Right.
I was ready to move on and have, a new chapter. I'm ready to have a new chapter in my life. And I wound up graduating, and fast forward everything, after I got back from China and Taiwan, I want to get into coaching. And I always stayed in touch with Julius Allen, who used to be the LIU head coach for Charles Jones, one of New York City legend coaches, like, Julius Allen, Rob Holford, all those guys, Mr. Couch, Lincoln Sensims, all those guys were always, helping kids. But Julius Allen, I'm talking to Julius. I said, I'm trying to get into coaching. I convinced, I talked to him, and he wound up taking a job at McNeese State in Lake Charles, Louisiana, Division I school, where Joe Dumars played at. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He took a job, and he convinced the head coach, Ron Everhart, who used to be the head coach at Northeastern, Duquesne, and now is at West Virginia. When he had Northeastern, he had Frank Martin as an assistant coach from South Carolina. He had J.J. Burrell as a player. So the guy's been around forever. But make a long story short, Julius Allen convinced Ron Everhart to get me a job, give me a coaching job down there. So I got the job, and I, was riding in New York City with Julius and his wife in a U-Haul all the way to Lake Charles, Louisiana. True story. I had no money. I didn't even know how much they was going to pay me. I said, I'm going. I'm leaving. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get in coaching so bad. I ride with them in a U-Haul, and you can ask Julius one day.
Mm-hmm.
At my own seat. We around, I think, Baltimore, somewhere in Maryland. The U-Haul breaks down.
Damn.
This is all breaks down. It breaks down. So little guy came out and fixed a truck, and he found this long pipe and said, "Yo, this is the problem. We got a new U-Haul. I had to put everything in another different U-Haul. Now the second U-Haul going down Lake Charles was only a 2-seater.
Mm-hmm.
So Julius, Coach Allen was driving. His wife was sitting in the passenger. I wound up sitting in the middle, even though it was a seat. I had a crate. I sat in a crate the whole time to Lake Charles, Louisiana. Because I was so thirsty to become a college coach. I want to coach. I want to get in.
What school is this?
McNeese State. McNeese State
Oh, the
University.
D1 school.
Yes. Where Joe Dumars went there. We helped get Ira Miller down there when he came from junior college. Ira Miller was Lamar and Speed's teammate at Christ the King.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a kid named DeMar Mallet who wound up playing. He just retired like 2 years ago. He played in EuroLeague for almost like 15 years, and he owns a sports bar, not a sports bar, a bar restaurant in Manhattan with Jason Williams from Duke and the Chicago Bulls. And T.A. Brown wound up playing for the Rockets and the Lakers. It's outside Houston. But make a story short, I sat in that crate for whatever hours was to go to Lake Charles, Louisiana, just to become a coach, and not knowing how much I'm going to be paid and blah blah blah. So I got down there. I wound up living with Coach Allen. They didn't pay me anything really. It's not Coach Allen's fault. The school didn't have no money to be paying me. So
Mm-hmm.
so, and we never negotiate anything. So it was just like got some food from the cafeteria. Coach Allen used to treat me all the time, and him and his wife, cook and took me out to eat all the time whenever they can, and and be honest with you, at times, if I got football tickets from the football team was really good from McNeese State, they were really good.
Mm-hmm.
So at times, I used to scalp them to get my meal money.
Wow.
Right? I used to scalp them, get my meal money. Say it was a lot. Might have been like $25, whatever it was. Just to get my meal money. I broke down game film on a VHS. When it was VHS two VHSs, and there was no really like going back. And when you're going back, you have to remember to write down the tracking number. So basically, I was sleeping, in basketball office, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't even like a nice office. It was just like a couch and a room where there's TV and VHS. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a little office. That's what it was. So I was always there a lot, spending time and breaking film down, offense, defense, whatever it was. It was cool for the time being. You know what I mean? Got sick of that and trying to get to a higher position and better school and get paid. I wasn't on a family tree like, in North Carolina and Duke. And I wasn't on a family tree like that. I wound up, calling Gary Charles for help. And Gary was working downtown Manhattan by World Trade Center, was a big dog, what he was doing at the time. And basketball was secondary. It was, and come down, let's talk. I wound up coaching with him with the Panthers. Want to get a lot of players play for Panthers, and traveling with them, coaching with them, helping kids, and he's getting me involved and working at ABCD camp, all that great stuff. And and this goes back to me being loyal to Gary. We're helping him with Lamar Odom, connecting the dots. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing when I was in college. It's like you always been straight up. You always try to help me with Lamar when he was in trouble. You always, try to help him, and I respect that. I felt like I should help you. You know what I'm saying? And give you a chance. He gave me a chance. And he still helped me to this day. Gave me a chance and worked at ABCD camp. I came in there with Brian Clifton, who was John Wall's AU coach later on. Me and Brian were the youngest dude at the time, and we didn't have no experience really. You know what I mean? I was fortunate to be part of the Panthers, being part of Gary Charles' crew. So, I had a little clout coming in with Gary. You know what I'm saying? Being part of his team. Brian didn't really have that, so he basically hanged on with us, and we got close, and we worked ABCD camp.
Now talk about that experience, man. The years that you did the ABCD camp.
The best experience I've been around basketball for that type of high school All-Americans playing and matchups and coaches watching and so much gear, and anybody know about Sonny Vaccaro, you get so much gear and so much food. He does it like the Italian way, make sure everybody eats. Everybody get taken care of. I was getting a check, getting paid for it, for doing something I love. Bumping to so many coaches and networking and still trying to climb that ladder. And did it for many years. Did it, when Charles Van Der Way was around. I was there when LeBron played against Lenny Cook. I was there when they sneaked Sebastian into camp as an 8th grader. You know what I'm saying? I saw everything. I was there when Derek Carrick killed Greg Oden, the one pick, killed him. OJ Mayo and Lance is going at it. I was there, watching.
Meaning that you just mentioned the LeBron-Lenny matchup and that you were physically there for it. Talk about that game.
He got all the hype. Lenny was a believer at the time, still playing West the Panthers. I mean, Lenny was nice. You know what I'm saying? Just that game, I don't think he had that great of a game. You know what I'm saying? And little by little, LeBron James just took over. Believe was halftime. Before halftime, he hit a buzzer beater from half court. 3/4 of court. Little by little. I mean, I thought Lenny played pretty good, but not Not the way everybody thought he usually played. You know what I'm saying? He played good though, but LeBron was just little by little taking over the game.
He was a different animal.
Yeah, but you could tell that there was flashes. You know, you could tell his IQ. You could tell how he moved, LeBron. You could tell everything, and the hype was already coming. You know what I'm saying? So the hype was already coming, and Lenny had that hype for sure, because Lenny was just like a man child. Lenny was just doing whatever he wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like he didn't like he played crap. Lenny played good. Just LeBron played a whole different level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And LeBron won. So the rest is history. Is LeBron outplayed Lenny. But Lenny played real good. You know what I mean? So it's not like he didn't do anything. He played good. But LeBron just played a whole different level. You know what I mean?
Being that you were with the Panthers, you got to see Lenny during those years. Like, what do you think contributed to his kind of basketball demise as far as, those years when he was tried to get into the draft? Like, what do you think did Lenny in?
Well, Lenny was first. I met Lenny first introduced a coach named Tyrone Green. Rest in peace. Tyrone Green was another New York City coach, legend. That I believe he's from Astoria. We used to be with LaSalle Academy and Madison Square Broncos, and had Eddie Lisma. Used to help Eddie Lisma, Shamik Hoscore, and all those people. Mr. Green is also the one who spoke high about Joakim Noah. When Joakim Noah had everybody looked at him like, "There's no way." This is when he was a ball boy. Well, make a long story short, that's how I met Lenny Cook through Mr. Green. Lenny Cook, Curtis Sumpter, they were all in that same class, and they used to all work out with Mr. Green. And I think, my opinion, before Lenny was blown up, he had the right people, the right team with him that really cared, like Mr. Green and guys like that. And Mr. Green, those guys backed off a lot of, the people that was leech on the guys that leached on.
They got them away from him.
He backed them up, and they know they gotta go to Mr. Green and whatever. And I think as Lenny got older, in a good way, it is what it is. It's his life. Lenny got around with a lot of people who want to be down with Lenny and jump on the bandwagon, and never really told him the truth. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's partying or whether it's working out more and this or whatever it is. I wasn't with Lenny at that time. Obviously, I was with Lenny, but Lenny had his own crew.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if that makes sense. He had his own crew. And, he'd be with, Lenny was a star. He was a star at that time. You know what I mean? He'll roll in 10 or more people, And I'm not saying they're all bad. I don't know. I don't know them people. But, but I don't think those people really know what it takes to get him drafted. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Looking back at it, and now, and looking back at it when I was working for an agent, it's like there's so much stuff that you need to make sure you're on the same page, and make sure you do it right to get drafted. You know what I'm saying? Your whole image is everything. And they looked at him like, yo, he's hanging around a lot of bad people. He's moving around too much. Which it wasn't bad people, I think, but just the outside looking in, from scouts to NBA scouts to whoever's evaluating you, whoever, when you put your name in a draft, people don't realize, you know what I mean? They hire investigators to investigate people. They have people follow you, your family, and whoever you hang out with, what they do. Yeah, they go back to like 5th, 6th grade. They go back to like 5th and 6th grade. If you have fights, if you beat up that teacher or curse me, they go back to all that stuff. They'll ask the custodian guy, how is he,
they talking to a lot of people.
Oh my God. Listen, when Lamar Odom, when Lamar Odom was in the draft, I used to have people that I used to always wonder, like, this doesn't look right. It was investigators following me to see what kind of person I am.
Damn.
Following Gary Charles to see what kind of person he was. And I didn't know nothing about that until years later. Years later. You know what I'm saying? To years later. There were investigators following me to see what kind of person I am. Because I'm a friend of Lamar Odom.
Damn. Yeah, that's
You know what I'm
weird.
saying?
People that you don't even know following you, you seeing them at this place and that. It's like, why are they around? And then you realize you're getting investigated. That has to
I was
be,
gonna
that's
investigate.
strange. That's
But,
strange right there.
it's very, but I get it now because they invested so much money in that player. So they want to make sure they want to make sure they will get every information they can. You know what I'm saying? Whether that family members using drugs, whether their cousins selling drugs, what are you doing? Are you using drugs? You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
know
they
what I
want
mean?
to know everything.
What do you do with your who you hang out with? Because they invested so much money in that player. They want to make sure the player might be fine.
Right.
It's the people that hang around him that's gonna get him in trouble.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just a part of the business part that I didn't know. I had no clue until I worked for an agent. Yep.
Now let's
Yep.
touch on the agent part.
Yeah.
You, for many, many years, you had your own company called All Access Sports and Entertainment, and
Right.
you also work for Dan Fegan.
Fegan.
Dan
Dan
Fegan.
Fegan. Yes,
Talk
rest in
about
peace. Dan Fegan. Dan Fegan.
the
So,
years in the agent business.
right. I start off at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you I want to be a coach, it took forever for me to get a job, a college coaching job. It took forever, a legit college coaching job. It took me forever. I'm like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. It took me forever. So I got frustrated. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So, and I always kept bugging Gary. And Gary was like, one day, Gary said to me, there's an agent that me and Sonny been talking to
Mm-hmm.
that's starting up. He's going to be great. He's very smart. He's going to be great. He needs a guy from the East Coast. And make a long story short, Gary plugged me with Dan Fegan. He plugged me with Dan Fegan. I met Dan Fegan. We started building our own relationship. The first time that it was summer, I worked at Kiki Vandeweghe's camp at Loyola Marymount University. So I'm staying in a hotel at the Marriott. My roommate, his name was Jaron O'Connor. Jaron O'Connor was trying to do the same thing like I was trying to do, trying to get in the business. He was from Hawaii. And he trying to get a business. But he knew Dan and somebody has good friends. And Kiki Vandeweghe had a pro camp. Dwayne Wade and all those guys before they blew up, they always at that camp. They were trying to find out who the next, kids who got a chance. And they was at this camp. So I worked at camp with Jaron O'Connor, and this is exactly what Dan Fegan said. He said Kiki Vandeweghe was with the Nuggets, I think at the time, Denver Nuggets. Whoever doesn't go with Kiki Vandeweghe on his staff is going to be working with me in my sports agency.
Mm-hmm.
Jaron O'Connor got lucky and got one with Kiki Vandeweghe. I wound up working for Dan, and that's where it started. When we first started, there was only 3 or 4 players. Chris Dudley played a year, was one of his best friends. That's how he started in the business. James Hollywood Robinson, who played at Alabama, was a Hall of Famer at Alabama, I believe. Mitchell Butler played at UCLA, played in the NBA for a little bit, worked the NBA team, and was just his agent, but was just Moses Brown's agent for Molloy, right?
Wait, what was Moses Brown's agent?
Was his agent was Mitchell Butler.
Okay.
Was a guy I used to work with when I used to work for Dan. But he was a client first.
Wasn't he in the movie trying to think, it was the movie with Shaq and Penny.
No, I don't know. I don't know if that was him. I gotta go back.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell played at UCLA, was a really good player. And
yeah, that's him.
Yeah, was that him?
Yeah.
Okay, you got me. So, real nice guy. Well, the last guy he signed was Moses Brown. But then Moses fired them, I think, recently, ends with Allen Iverson's uncle and stuff. So, but make a long story short, so when Dan first started, he didn't really have a legit NBA player. Chris Dudley was still trying to get, put his name together, put his name in as a household name in the NBA, and I was just I didn't even know what I was getting myself involved with. It's not like I took a class. It's not like they was giving a class to work for an agent. I basically, I was in the office at times and watching a lot of games, and the key was get players. He said, "Gotta get players." So, I mean, I went back into, basically it's like he threw me in the streets and said, "Go get players," right? So I was fortunate to have a lot of guys I grew up playing with, like Rayford Austin. I had a lot of relationships, with the help of Jason Williams, Godfather Jason Williams from St. John's and the Mets, and some other people. That and let's be real, at that time the Panthers, we were loaded with pros. We were loaded with NBA players, future NBA players, right? So, and I was cool with a lot of AU teams, the coaches. So, you got to connect the dots. And I wound up working for Dan, and we wound up building that practice with some other people. And Rob Baker, who's the director of director of scouting maybe for the Philadelphia Sixers. He used to be Bob Huggins' assistant when Kenyon Martin was there. He was on staff. He was working with Dan and Brian Dyke. Brian Dyke, you know who Brian Dyke is? Wife is the head coach of USC. She's a Hall of Famer. Cynthia Cooper from the NBA. Brian worked with us. Well, Brian was there before me. So I just, try to learn the game, figure the game, and how to go about it, how the approach is. So, the first couple of years, I was doing stuff what they asked me to do, but not like really signing players. You know what I mean? So started from scratch. Make sure the players was good. More of a manager to the player. Make sure they were safe. Make sure when we was going out, they wouldn't get in trouble. They needed something at 3 a.m, 2 a.m. I go get it done. You know what I'm saying? So as this time went by, I wound up connecting the dots, and with the helps of a lot of people in this business, we wound up signing Sean Marion. We wound up signing. Yep. We wound up signing. With a couple of coaches and people in the business. We wound up signing Sean Marion. We wound up signing Kenyon Martin, the number 1 pick in the draft. I was with Kenyon when he broke his leg in Cincinnati. He was in Santa Monica, California, rehabbing. I was there. The class that I was very, very involved with, that was my breakout, was even though with a lot of helps with other coaches and whoever the family members was Jason Richardson, back-to-back slam dunk champ from Michigan State, Gilbert Arenas, Troy Murphy, and Kenny Satterfield from New York City. Those 4 guys was really my first class that I really was very, very involved. You know what I'm saying? As you know, all 3 of them went to Golden State. Jason Richardson, Gilbert Arenas, and Troy Murphy. I spent a lot of time in the Bay Area because of them. And Kenny was with the Denver Nuggets. There's a lot of guys. Then I brought in my best friend, Rayford Austin. We got him a 6-year, $30 million deal with Toronto Raptors. Eric Dampier. My agent I was working for, Dan Fegan, went to Yale University. Rest in peace. Probably the best second contract negotiating contract ever, agent. I mean, he got deals that it was unheard of. Nene Hilario, Howard Isley, Shandon Anderson. You look at all their contracts, like how much they got paid compared to other guys, other players in that position that year. You're like, there's no way. You know what I mean? Sean Marion got paid a lot of money. Obviously, Ricky Davis. I mean, we had a client list that was crazy. It started rolling. DeMar Johnson was there with us before he got hurt. After a car accident from Cincinnati, was very good. I mean, Dan was, and it was moving very fast. So, like I said, we never really sat down and had a class. I had to take a class, or I wasn't an agent at the time. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't an agent. But I did a lot of stuff for Dan in that company that I need to do. Whether it's babysitting, whether it's helping guys get deals, whether it's recruiting guys, you know what I mean? We wind up getting a lot of guys that way. We wind up getting a lot of guys and blowing up fast. And now my name is starting to ring bells. Started to ring bells from high school, college. And one thing about me always, I never forgot the people that looked out for me. I always, if somebody's hungry or somebody needs something that I know of, I try my best to help that person. When guys struggling, I remember when I was struggling, I was calling a lot of Division I coaches to try to get on the staff, or even just for them to return my phone call. They wouldn't call me back. You know what I'm saying?
That's the business. That's that coaching business for you.
Yeah, because I didn't have nobody for them, right?
Right.
I didn't have nobody for them, so they big time me. You know what I'm saying? So I always said to myself like, when I get there, I'm not gonna big time nobody, but I'm always gonna remember. I always gonna remember who big time me.
Yeah.
I always remember who big time me, right? So the people that always trying to come up or struggling and whatever it was, I always try to look out for them, even to this day. Even to this day, people don't realize that I don't share my stuff with a lot of people and say, "Oh, I did this for person and I did that." I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
But that person knows. A lot of Division I head coaches know that I gotta help them on their way.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches, I help them. A lot of NBA guys help them. Understand? A lot of ex-NBA players or ex-college players, I help them, whether they're in high school, or whether they're in college when they were starving, or when they finished playing basketball, trying to be a pro, I help them get a job. People don't realize that, but I don't run and tell the names because there's no need for that. I don't have no need to. I do it from my heart.
I'm gonna say this, Eddie. This is my thing. When being that you mentioned college basketball, it's a lot of coaches out there that you were once a coach. You've seen that side, like at the Final Four. That's the spot that a lot of these guys that probably are trying to get into the business, or guys that just got fired, they go over there and they basically begging for jobs. They making themselves look crazy just to get a job. Like
I
remember when these guys, shout out to my guys at St. Francis, when they used to they always talked about going to the Final Four and all that. You would think that, at least they had their jobs. Like they gotta, they go in there to meet and greet and all the good stuff. But what they don't tell you is about the guys that's out there begging for them.
Begging, networking. And back when I was coming up trying to be a coach, you could get a job. You could bump into somebody in the lobby and get a job.
Right.
Now it's different. Those jobs that might be open, they already got their guy.
Right.
Those jobs that's available in Hoop Dirt, whatever it is, they know who they're gonna hire already.
Exactly. They know who they want off the rip.
They know who they want. Like somebody called me when Rick Pitino got the job. Oh, can you plug me with Coach? I'm like, Coach already know who he got. He's a Hall of Famer. He's been in this business for 30, 40 years. He already know who he want to hire. He already know if this guy doesn't want the job, the second guy's I'm getting on after this guy, the third guy's this guy. He already know.
Yeah, you can't just running him saying, "Oh, can you take this guy?" That doesn't work that way, especially with him.
Work that way. No, he's a Hall of Famer. He knows who he wants to hire, and everybody can't work for you, right? You got to have certain kind of work ethic and how you carry yourself and all the other stuff. But I mean, it's very interesting just looking back, and I would love to share this. That's the reason why I did this, because I would like to share this and also help some of these young guys who's trying to get in the break in the business, just to let them know what they're getting themselves into. Because nobody really helped me like that. I mean, here and there, Julius Allen those guys like that, of course, and Gary Charles. But nobody really sit down with somebody and say, yo, you know what? I'm going to get you ready to become a college coach while you in high school, while you in college. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a manager, whether it's an ex-player, whatever it is, I'm going to help you. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody want to help somebody who already is good. Why not? Why a lot of people don't want to help the people that like can't get a break or trying to break in the business?
That's true.
I'm just being real with you. I've been around it. I've seen it. I experienced it. That, you know, people, and that's just the nature of this, how we live, or at least how some of these other people live. That, you know, how you gonna help me? No, I've always believed you help somebody, and that shall come back. Not that I'm asking for something from that person. You know what I'm saying? It'll come back. The good thing you do to people, it'll come back. If it don't, it don't. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, go back to agent stuff. You know, we signed a lot of players, and then what made me start my company was Rafer Austin, aka Skip to My Lou. You know, he was one of our clients, and on the way down to, you know, it was gonna be hard for him to get back in the NBA, but you know he's getting older, right? And it was hard. You know, that's just how the business is. It was hard for him to get a job at NBA. You know, my guy who I was working for named at the time Dan Fegan. I only worked for one agent I ever worked for 17 years. Dan Fegan wasn't really trying to help him get back in the NBA. He wasn't, because he had so many clients. So he was really worried about the younger guys. So I kind of felt disrespected in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? And Rafer is one of my best friends. I wasn't gonna leave him hanging. So Rafer said, yo, why don't you become my agent? At least I know you'll work the phones. At least I know I could trust you, blah, blah, blah. So that's when I started my company, and, you know, he supported it. And that's when I wound up sending him to China, you know, and that's how he got to China, you know. I never really wanted to be an agent. People don't realize that. That wasn't really my thing. I didn't, it's not like, you know, I want to be a coach, you know. People don't realize that. But at that time, I got in, and I was making a lot of money, and I was around basketball, which I love. You know what I mean?
That's big right there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And from building a practice who had 3-4 clients that's not really an NBA to being a top 3 agency, I mean, we sold it many times. Sold it many times. I mean, the last 2 guys I signed was John Wall and Ricky Rubio. Before I left Dan Fegan. That's the last 2 guys I signed. People don't realize that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big right there. So you can still call them up today and be like, yo, what's up?
Yes. But I got John Wall off my relationship with Brian Clifton back in ABC days. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It went a
I
long
never
way.
big time, and I was always a real person. I never big time him. You know what I'm saying? It's all relationships. It's all relationship. I got Ricky Rubio off a guy that I know since I was a little kid at Lower East Side, a guy from Spain. And he used to run Jerry Cosby's. You know, Jerry Cosby's store that used to be inside Madison Square Garden, selling the Knicks uniform, the real hockey uniforms and all stuff.
Okay.
He used to run Jerry Cosby. He's from my neighborhood.
Is that like when you first get past the metal detectors and all that store right there? That sells
to the left. It used to be there. It used to be there. Now they moved up the block. They used to be there for like 50 years. And I used to work there for that. He used to be my boss. You know what I'm saying? And a quick story. So when the jerseys was real popping, everybody used to wear jerseys. You were young though. You young. I'm old.
Yeah, I'm about to be 28 this week.
Yeah. I'm on my boss at the time, which is the guy, Dave Garrett. He's always say, yo, he's from Lower East Side. He said, yo, do me a favor. I said, what? Don't steal nothing. He said, you need something, I'll give it to you. Don't steal nothing. Yo, that was his word. That was his thing.
Wow.
And yo, he meant it. He said, Ed, I love you like a little brother, but if I catch you stealing, I'm firing you. You need something. He said, you need something, let me know. Yo, I needed something at times. Needed 3-4 jerseys. You know, they wasn't paying me. 3-4 jerseys, right? I remember when DJ Clue came in there trying to buy jerseys.
Wow.
Right? Check this out. And DJ Clue about for this. I didn't know DJ Clue. I remember he's buying jerseys. I said, yo, don't buy no jerseys yet. It's expensive. They charge like $300 a jersey, right? I said, don't buy no jerseys. Let's exchange numbers. Which one you want? I wound up telling my guy, my supervisor, I said, Dave, I need these jerseys. He didn't ask me. He didn't question me.
He just
gave me the jersey. He gave it to me. He said, thank you. Just don't steal. I will give it to you. I got him. I sold him DJ Clue.
Wow.
For half the price. You see what I'm saying?
What was the price?
I think it was like $150 back then. It was.
So you gave them for like $75.
Half price. Yeah, whatever it was. But $75. I mean, whatever it was still cheaper. You know what I mean? Half price.
Yeah.
So my guy was always like, "Don't steal. Ask me, and I'll give it to you."
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I've been really fortunate to have really good people around me, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You know, listen, it's always haters. There's always haters. There's always this, that, and third, which is fine. But the people that really know me, that really know what I'm about, they know I'm not about no funny stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of haters, it's one thing I always want to ask you about.
Yeah, please.
So back in the day, 2005, everybody knows that you and Derek Character were close.
Yes.
So basically, it was a situation where this guy wrote an article. We don't have to say his name. This guy wrote an article about you. They mention your name, and they say that you threatened him and said, "Don't talk about me, or else it's going to be a problem." This is your floor to tell your side of the story.
I have no problem sharing this with you. I have no problem telling the truth. One thing about me, I'm gonna tell the truth. If I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you.
Right.
Bottom line. That's one thing people tell you that. You know what I'm saying? If I don't mess with you, I don't mess with you. If I mess with you, if you're a good friend of mine, I'll do anything for you. Derek Character was ready to announce where he's going to college. We are at St. Patrick's High School. Right before they about to announce it, you know, he's sitting down before he sits down. I get a phone call. The guy calls me. I still remember CBS Sports. To this day. Tim Doyle calls me. Said, and he got me. He said, "Man, I heard Derek's about to commit. But can you tell me about you working for this agent?" Right. So I knew that where I was going as a writer. I knew he was going to throw salt into my shit with Derek. I knew that he was going to write a negative article. So all I said to him was like, do me a favor. Today, right now, it's about Derek Character. Let him live. No, I'm gonna write this article about you being working for agent, and you took care of Derek and blah blah blah. Derek was family.
You already knew what was gonna happen when he wrote that article. He tried to make it seem bigger than what it was.
Yes. So I said to him, I said, "You write the article, I'm gonna fuck you up." I did say that. I did say that.
Yeah.
Yes, I did say that. So I don't have a problem telling, you know, looking back at it, right? Maybe 20-something years now, I probably should never said that. But remember, I grew up differently from everybody else. I grew up, you had to defend
right, you from the streets.
Yes, you grew up, like, you know what I'm saying? I had to defend myself many, many times when I step out of my house. You know what I'm saying? Many, many times. You know, which is fine. That's who I am right now. I'm not saying I'm tough. I'm not saying I'm a killer.
Right.
But you got to defend yourself.
You had to let him know who you was.
Who you fucking with?
Yeah.
So he wrote the article.
And he wrote that you threatened him.
Yes. It's crazy. It's crazy because I gotta laugh right now. So my boss, which is like my older brother at that time, Dan Fegan, he was like killing me. He's like, the fuck you doing that for? You can't do that to the media. They'll crush you and blah, blah, blah. You know, the media controls everything. But Dave, I'm young. I didn't know what was that about. I didn't know it was gonna be in an article for, right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny you said that. I did say that, and it's funny you said that. My son, 12 years old, asked me this 2 months ago. He said, Dad, I was searching your name and I saw an article with your name. Did you really tell the writer that you was gonna kick his ass? I said, Jaden, you know that I'll tell you the truth. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
so that sticks with you.
Yeah.
That sticks with you. so
the fact
that sticks with you.
The fact that he put it out there, and then 15 years later, your son is actually reading this article. Yo,
yes.
That's yeah.
But you know what? Like Dan told me all the time. He said, Ed, you don't understand. The guy who have that pen controls your life at times.
Yeah, they got that
power.
power.
That power, whether it's true or not, they could write something, and you always have to defend yourself for the rest of your life. He said the reason why I'm telling you that is because it happened to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I look back a lot of stuff, and I'm not saying I did everything the right way, but I know one thing, that I took care of a lot of people. I took care of a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people. And not that I want anything back. I see a lot of people run their mouth about me that is not true. And it doesn't bother me, but just like, really? Like, why don't y'all ask me if it's true? Like, you just ask me. People just assume whatever happened in the past. Oh, he worked for an agent. He's a bad person. No, I took care of a lot of families that was struggling. And also, I'm not going to get into it. There was a lot of people that, and it's going to come out in my book. I ain't going to put the names, but it's going to come out in my book and documentary. There was a lot of people taking money from plays in schools, right? And not giving to that kid and that family. Behind the scenes stuff. That, how are they not a bad person? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm a bad person. I'm just saying, this is, like you said, there's always haters. But this game been so great to me, basketball. Every job I got is through basketball. It's been so great. I made a lot of money, made a lot of friends, and met a lot of people. Whether they like me or they don't like me, it doesn't bother me. At the end of the day, not one person really stepped to me and said, "Yo, you did this to me. You did this to me." Right. They can't give you a reason to say that. Whether I stole money from them, or I jerked them, or lied to them, they can't. They gotta look at themselves in the mirror and say, "Yo, he's right. I wasn't working as hard. I was partying all night when I was in the NBA. I was smoking, and he told me." Or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? I spent all my money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not here to say that, I'm always right, like I said, but they can never say that I did them dirty.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Can never do that. Even right now, coaching. I love what I'm doing. I love helping kids. But same thing. Just like when I was growing up, I have to prove a point at Murry Bergtraum that I know what I'm doing. I don't care, no disrespect to any of these big time schools, but I could send a kid to Division I easily. I could pick up a phone to a college coach and say, "Yo, this kid's good enough. I need you to take him." Meanwhile, some of these big time schools, they can't do that. And we're not talking about kids who got a chance to go to Duke and Carolina. We're talking about other kids that really need help.
Mm-hmm.
They won't pick up the phone, and they probably won't waste their time to do that to some of these kids. Even if they got to go Division III.
Mm-hmm. That's
My
true.
thing is that if a kid got to go Division I, we'll help them. But what happened to the last guy on the bench who's trying to play in college basketball? Who maybe can't go Division I, he can go Division III, the Hunter, John Jay, York, NAIA, junior college. We're not going to help that kid?
That is true. A lot of coaches, they just won't do that.
They won't do that. Because you know why? It takes too much time. It's no money for them.
Exactly. Or they
You know
feel like the kid ain't worth it.
Listen, man. They thought I wasn't worth it.
And now
what I'm
you're
saying?
proving them wrong.
That's always been me. Since my childhood, they thought I wasn't good enough. So who am I to tell that kid they're not good enough? I'm going to get you there. Now you fuck it up. That's on you.
Mm.
I'm going to try my best to get you there. I always said that. You do your part, I'm going to do my part. Your part, be a good person, work hard, get good grades, and do what you got to do and not get in trouble. Me, I'm going to call the schools for you, vouch for you. You know what I mean? A lot of high school coaches, there's some that coaches will call back because they call. But a lot of these schools, high school coaches, they have no juice. Let's be real. I'm going to be real with you. And I'm not going to call out no names.
Yeah, you ain't got to do all that.
They can't make a phone call and say, "Yo, I need you to do this favor for me." See, I've been around this for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And I have relationships. You know what I'm saying? I have relationships. And some kids need second chances. And I still help them.
Mm.
Some kids need third chances. I still help them. I don't, when people get in trouble or people they're not hot, they're not supposed to be that dude at that time, they're not popping at that time, a lot of people tend to run away from helping these people, these kids or person. You might not even say, "I want money." You say, "Yo, Ed, I just need some advice. I just need to talk to you." Like one of my good child friends, Coach Book.
Mm.
Everybody's like, "Yo, this, that, and the third." Coach Book didn't do nothing wrong.
He didn't. All he did, I've known Book since I was 13 years old. I met him at the supermarket adjacent to his brother's barbershop. And he'll tell you the story. Ever since then, I've been tight. Like, I've known him as long as my little brother's been alive.
Yeah.
So.
But everybody's like, now they're looking at him kind of funny. That's my dude.
And then, you got all these articles being written about him, which are false. That's another thing.
But here's my thing. We go back to when people are writing.
Yeah.
They have to sell the story.
Yeah.
To make it juicy.
Mm-hmm.
In order to sell it. In order that writer his name's that writer wrote some nice article. Now it's like these kids nowadays. Yo, how many hits I got on my Instagram, my Twitter?
Or how many views I'm getting,
viewers, whatever it is, right? Same thing with writers.
Mm-hmm.
It's boring writing something that's not going to sell.
Exactly.
You got to twist the story. That's why I asked you when I asked the story. I'm like, I was going to do it regardless, but where are we going at this story?
Of course, you deserve to know because it's about you.
Not that you did anything bad to me. You've always been cool and straight up. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of respect for you, always. So the first day I met you, you don't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, okay, is this story gonna get twisted or is not?
Yeah.
Because I want my story to come out. What I'm telling you. You ask me, I'll tell you the truth. You ask me about the guy, yes, I did tell him I'm out there. You ask me about this, and if I don't feel comfortable because I don't want to put that person's name there, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, you ain't got to do that.
Because I don't want nobody to get in trouble.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But Coach Book, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? They need to take the felony charge off of that, or whatever he got, and they need to give him a chance.
They do, yeah.
Because all those other assistant coaches didn't get no charge like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's not right.
Yeah. I guess he's the only one that had to serve time.
Yeah.
No, you know everybody else got that slap on the wrist, maybe probation.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'd be like, oh, watch what you say because your son is about to play college ball. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm speaking of my opinion, my truth about Coach Buck Richardson, who I know since we were 12, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
I know what kind of person he is. That's really my brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I have no problem taking a picture with him and putting him on social media and say, that's my guy, that's my brother. So a lot of other people used to call and say this, that, and third. Now they're gone. They're not there. That's just how it is.
Funny thing, it's funny you mentioned that because I was talking to Paul Biancardi about a week and some change ago, and he said the same thing when he got fired from
Ohio State.
Yeah, not Ohio State. No, the head coaching gig, Wright State. He said, yeah, because he was a head coach for 3 years. So he basically told me that once you lose that job, everybody that was there for you way back when is no longer there. You're not getting no phone calls, no texts, nothing.
Dave, I basically had a job at Hostos Junior College. I don't think people really knew that. That was my job. And when everybody heard I was getting that job, and I'm not saying it was a big time job, whatever. Everybody heard about I was getting that job. People that I knew that I didn't even know was texting me and calling me and say, "Yo, I want to come work with you." And I'm saying to myself, like, I don't even know you. You know what I'm saying?
You to put them on because you was
which I understand. But it's like, what I'm telling you is that when you hot, everybody jump on a bandwagon.
Yeah.
Everybody, girls, guys, everybody. Anything you say is funny. You know what I'm saying? Anything you say, everybody's calling you. Oh, what are we doing tonight? Nah. Say when you're not doing as good or whatever, you're not on top of your game like that, you get lesser phone calls.
That's true.
When I was working for agent, and everybody used to always ask me for tickets for here, for there, NBA, the college. I used to look out for people. Never charge people too.
Yeah.
Never charge you a dime. You know what I'm saying? You know, not that I can't get tickets now, but they don't think I'm still involved. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, no. You know what I'm saying? I mean, World Wide West gave me one great advice one time. Because they were trying to compare me and him together, and they're trying to have me and him go at it. And I was at one point, he wrote an article. I want top 5 powerful guys in this game. Me, him, guy from Chicago, and blah blah blah. And Wes was like, "Yo, just be yourself. Don't change. Just be yourself. Everything will be fine. And don't think everybody's your friend.
That's true.
Everybody's not your friend. So if you know something, you keep it to yourself. You don't have to share that with everybody.
That's true.
Because people that's next to you, a lot of times they hoping that you lose. They don't want you to win. He told me that.
Real. Yeah.
He told me that, and that was somebody who I was competing. I thought I was competing against in the business, but he was OG in the game already. He's the man. You know what I'm saying? So he told me that. He's like, "Yo, you good. Keep doing what you do."
Shout out to World Wide West, New York Knicks.
Yes, New York Knicks, great dude. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of times guys before my time was doing it. Way before my time. People don't even know that the one documentary I want to see, and I don't know he's gonna do it. Is a guy named Rob Johnson. Rob Johnson was one of the first guys in New York City that was involved with players and agents and colleges. And another guy, and another guy who was involved with me and Rayful when we was young, big time. He was a great dude. I don't know if he was involved with agents, but he was always helping kids. But unfortunately, he passed away. Rodney Parker. Heaven is a playground. I was with Ronnie Parker when he gave at the Final Four in Charlotte '94 when he brought me to Sonny Vaccaro's All-Star event. He got my first leather jacket. He got me my first leather jacket from Adidas. Okay, Ronnie Parker. He was amazing. How he got stuff done, helping kids. He was amazing. I sat with him when we met with the junior college coach to get Smush to junior college. Smush Parker. You know what I'm saying? So those guys was way before me, helping kids. You know what I'm saying? Rob Johnson, I want to hear his story because he's definitely a legend in this game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So let's
You know what I'm
segue
saying?
into coaching. You coached at Hunter College for a while. Talk about that experience.
It was a great experience. You know, I had got out of the business for 17 years. You know, I got out. You know, I had two boys, and I got out. One of the reasons I got out was because my youngest son was diagnosed with Down syndrome, and when I got out, I really had to spend time with him, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know how to go about it, and I got out to really spend more time with him and do a lot of research. You know what I'm saying? Getting the proper help. You know what I mean? And when I got back to when Shea Berry was the head coach, he offered me a job the first year, and I said I couldn't do it. I wasn't ready, and I convinced him to take Derek Lawson. Coach Lawson was the coach. The second year, you know, I started helping out. Next, you know, I became the assistant coach with Shea Berry and got very involved and loved what I do. Hunter College was great. My AD was great. I still remember what she said to me. She said, "I read these articles. You know, I read these articles." She said, "You don't sound like this guy who they write about." He said, "But this one thing," and she used to be a women's coach there. She said, the one thing I ask you to do, don't cheat. You break a rule and I catch you, I gotta fire you."
Mm-hmm.
That's what she said. She said, "I understand you gotta get players, but if you cheat, don't get caught. Because once I catch you, I gotta fire you." Right? Real nice lady. She always had my back, and she's one of the main reasons how I got that job at Hostos. Was supposed to get that job because she was an AD at CUNY for so many years, and the AD at Hostos used to play for her. You know, they connected with the City College AD and blah blah blah. You know, they all connected. They were all under her tree. You know, but Hunter College was great. You know, it's Division III, makes you appreciate the game, the kids. You know, there's no scholarship, so you know they have to. A lot of kids was going to school, playing basketball, and then going to their job, going to work. You know, it was different, which is fine. I love the game. I thought that was more of at that time I was going to do a lot with my youngest son. I didn't know which direction, if he was going to be healthy or not. So that really gave me a little time out at times, and basketball was like a therapy, you know. Yeah.
So fast forward into what you're doing now. You're the coach at. Well, you went to Seward Park, right?
Seward Park. I went to Seward Park. There was no banners at Seward Park, no championships at Seward Park at all. I went there as assistant coach. First year we lost in the Final Four in the A division. You know, won the conference undefeated. Went to the Final Four. I sent 3 guys to college. 3 guys. 1 guy went to Midland. Another guy went to junior college in Kansas, and another kid went to a school in Virginia, I believe. You know, and then second year came back, won the conference again. We had back to back. Sent kids to college on scholarships. They never did that before. They never did that. The third year, I didn't come back. I wound up, and they still had my players. They wound up winning the third year. So really, I have 3 championships. You know, and we're not talking about city championships. We're talking about, you know, conference championships, which was still important because that school didn't have any banners up there. You know, and I said I'm still the only coach that sent kids on a scholarship at that school. Nobody else did that since I left.
Wow.
And those kids on scholarships. You know what I mean? Then I went to Seward Park and took the job. First year, we made to the playoffs, lost first round. Second year, we lost to the playoff first round. Kids wound up going to junior colleges because before I got there, the academics was bad, so they wound up going to colleges and getting scholarships. The third year, I was fortunate to get a kid named Dior Davis from St. Raymond's High School who transferred in, and he led the city in scoring. And he got 13 Division I offers. So the year he came in, we lost.
And this is at Bergtraum.
So the first year he came in, we lost first round to what's the school Kerry Thompson? Not Watley. What's the school Kerry Thompson went? Walton. We lost to Walton first round. And we had the game. We went there with 6 players. We lost. Last year, we went to the Final Four. It was Banneker versus Beacon, and we were going to play Bedford Academy on Sunday, March the 15th. On March 13th, they canceled everything because of COVID, and we went to the Final Four. We won the conference and everything. Won the defeat in the conference. Bergtraum never. Well, they had one championship in '83. That's it. They never won the conference. They never did it all. We won the conference last past year, and we were supposed to win the city. To be honest with you, we was gonna get that city title last year, and due to COVID, we didn't get to finish up. And this year we got a chance because we got everybody coming back almost. We got a chance.
4-5.
Yes. You know what I mean? And we got kids. The key is winning. But my key is getting kids a scholarship, so they owe no loans, and they go to school for free. When they come out with their 4-year degree, they don't owe anything, and they can start fresh right away. That's my goals.
Wow. So yeah, y'all were 24-5 last year and ranked number 8 in New York State.
Yep. And everybody told me you can't get it done. You at Murry Bergtraum. It's a girls' school. It's a girls' basketball program, which they are. They are pretty damn good, especially back when I was growing up. The last couple of years they've been struggling, and they still got kids going Division I. But you don't tell me you can't. Don't tell me no. I'm going to find a way. Don't tell me I can't do it. I'm going to find a way just to prove you wrong. You know what I'm saying? Just to prove you wrong. Everybody's trying to get Dior Davis transfer. Dior don't need to go nowhere. He need to finish up here and then go to prep school for his last year. And he's gonna be a Division I player. He's pretty freaking good. Like, he's probably one of the better guards in New York City right now. Yeah, Ricky Rivers asked me the other day, "Oh, who's your top 3 point guards in New York City?" I said, Dior Davis, number 1, the kid from Jeff, the kid from Boys and Girls, and the kid from St. Ray's.
Yeah.
I said
Molloy,
you cannot mention.
Lyle, yeah.
I said you cannot mention those kids and not mention Dior Davis.
Right.
You cannot. And I know a lot of times it's because the name of the school. We're really not known for a boys basketball program. You know what I mean? And when I took the job, I think people started looking at me like, "You crazy?" And then when I started making some moves, they're like, "Yo, if anybody could do it, you could do it." You know what I'm saying? And then in those schools like that, you know what I'm saying? Because anybody could take St. Raymond's and win, and Christ the King and St. Patrick School, you know what I mean?
Right.
But Murry Bergtraum boys, really not known for that. Seward Park, definitely not known for that. You know what I'm saying? That's like taking Norman Thomas, Washington Irving. Maybe back in the days they were good. Like Norman Thomas had 2 kids. You know what I mean? But it's not like they was known for a basketball school like Lincoln, Grady, schools like that. Yep. So. Yep.
And you guys play in the A division, which is, it may not be AA, but still good.
We play, our thing was always, even when I was at Seward Park, we play St. Benedict's, we play AA schools. Last year we played Christ the King, we play Manhattan Center, we play Wheels in the Manhattan Boroughs that we lost to. You know what I mean? So we lost to the championship Manhattan Boroughs against Wheels. They want us to go AA right now. I don't know if we're gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? But
you guys could. I think you guys could. Looking now, I've seen you guys at fall leagues and stuff like that. You guys probably could be able to compete in the Double A.
Right.
I
Because
think
they
that
want
would be
somebody to replace. They want somebody to replace the Manhattan part. I think Wiley is not in Double A no more, or Wiley don't have a program. They were saying, so they want us to be in the Double A. You know what I'm saying? So the key is that Double A is a different animal. So you want to win, you gotta really,
set these kids up for success and not failure.
Yeah. You gotta really hopefully have kids that enroll in your school, because you cannot recruit. So you hopefully have kids to enroll in your school to that are serious about basketball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
So aside from Dior, what other talented players do you have?
Keanu Woodall, who transferred to St. Ray's, also. I think he's a Division I player, point guard. Cameron Sweetney, who led the rebounding in public school last year, 6'5" kid. Probably could sneak into a Division I school, maybe, if not Division II. He need more playing experience. We got our Cross Bandy, who was at St. Raymond's, then went to Marist High School in New Jersey, and now just transferred back home. He's a scholarship player. We got a lot of young guys who are very good. Nazi Rowell, who point guard, about 5'8", 5'9", sophomore, is really good. Christian Davis, which is Dior's little brother. He's a sophomore, really good. Khalifa is a sophomore. And, our sophomore class will be juniors next year. Donnell Campbell, who's a junior right now from LaSalle, who was at LaSalle Academy. He played last year with me. He's the second year with us at Murry Bergtraum. He's really good, can really shoot the three. Defensively, he's probably one of the better defensive players on the team. He'll be a scholarship player when it's all said and done. So we got a little nice, little nice crew. Just like anybody, you wish you had a bigger kid at center, just like any school, right? But we'll play 4 guards, we'll play 5 guards at a time, and speed it up and press and trap and rotate.
Oh, Kasai Fontanez, he went to West Oaks.
Yes, he transferred to West Oaks. Kasai Fontanez transferred to West Oaks. He was a senior.
I've seen some footage of him. He's pretty good.
Yeah, See, the key is that everybody think they need a national schedule. You don't need a national schedule. You need a coach that's going to get you ready, prepare you, play a decent schedule like we do. We're a pretty good schedule. We play out of our non-conference schedule is crazy. I'm not afraid to lose. I want these kids to get the experience and showcase their talent. So and then also you need a coach that's going to pick up the phone to make those calls for you. And that coach could pick up the phone, but he might not have no juice. So if you don't have no juice, it's not going to work. So you're a double A schools all you want, right? And I'm not saying double A schools are bad, but if that coach cannot help you and have no juice, what's the whole purpose of that? The college coach is not going to your games like that, like they used to. They if you got a name, it's a different story. But if you don't really got a real household name, they don't know you. They're gonna wait to see you AAU, or they're gonna wait to see your coach is gonna call a coach, call them to come to the games. You know what I'm saying? Last year we had almost 15 Division I coaches. Your school, Manhattan, Iona, we got Morgan State, we go on and on and on. Came to our practice and games.
Yeah.
So we have more college coaches coming to a lot of these AA schools. You know what I'm saying? So
that's true.
Yeah. So, but listen, people get caught up. Oh, I gotta go AA. Oh, I gotta go here. I gotta go. No. Are you playing?
That's true.
Or you just sit on a bench just because you got nice gear?
And that's the reoccurring thing with a lot of the kids now. They want that gear. They don't really want to play. They want that gear.
Yeah, and everybody wants to put together an all-star team. Why don't you go play against that team and bust their ass? Stop trying to form an all-star team. You know what I'm saying? They already got 3-4 guys that. Yeah, exactly. I'm not afraid. I'll go into Jeff boys and girls, and they better than us at the times, right? I want that. You know why I want that? Because it will get my kids ready for the playoffs in the conference. Because we'll never play against 3 7-footers at St. Benedict's. We'll never play against, the environment at Jeff, at boys and girls. We'll never play against. We'll play against Christ the Kid. We'll never play against. They have 5, 6 Division I players. We'll never play against guys like that in our conference, right? So, win or lose, we'll be ready. We'll be ready. That's the key on preparing them. You know what I'm saying? You don't run away from competition. I call a lot of schools and towns that, oh, we can't play against you guys because you guys are in the A division. Okay, so just beat us.
Yeah, they don't want that smoke, basically.
They don't want that smoke. And I don't know why, because, if you scared about competing, then you're not ready for real life.
Well said.
Like, the real world is about competing. Like, if you're not ready to compete and challenge and fight back, you're not going to win. Because this real world, as you see right now, we all got to fight. And I'm not talking about physically. We all got to fight in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? Because it's rough for everybody, every race right now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yep.
So talk about the Eddie Lau Down Syndrome Classic.
Basically, it's really my youngest son Josiah. As I told you, he was diagnosed with Down syndrome, and we started off with a regular softball game, and really just having fun because he loved sports and he loved basketball, and just showing him love. And came to it. We spoke to a couple of people and said, "Yo, you need to do it where you could raise money and give it back to the school. Give it back to his school, kids that have Down syndrome, so they could use the money and do trips and whatever events they have, to participate in. So that Down syndrome is for my son, basically raise money, but also is for a lot of friends and family that I haven't seen in a long time. So I think we should all gather up in a great event like this, just so we get together. Because what a lot of times happen is that we don't see some of our friends for a long time, and we don't tell them we miss and love them. And next if we don't appreciate them, next when we do tell them, is at their funeral. You know what I'm saying? So that's also my little get together with a lot of my friends and family, people that looked out for me. They also say thanks, and I'm glad to see you here. You alive. We can laugh a little bit, eat a little bit, have some fun for that day, and till next time I'll see you again. You know what I'm saying? Because we lose touch with a lot of our friends. You know what I'm saying?
We do.
And always hear about I don't know if that's why you see me sometimes say, man, I love you, man. Thanks, man. Tell people, because you don't tell them that. When you gonna tell them that? When they dead? Or appreciate you. Like Robert Holford, Coach Holford was on my game the other day. Legendary coach, old school coach, legendary. And I remember when he watched me and recruited me when I was at Redemption for a little bit. He's another one. Like, you gotta appreciate the people that looked out for you.
Yeah, especially when a lot of people are getting older now. A lot of people are dying.
When they're alive.
Right.
When they're dying, not when they're alive. You gotta show them their love. Show their appreciation. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't do that, and that's the problem we have. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't. I might not like you, but I respect what you did for the game or for people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't like LeBron. But you gotta respect him. You gotta respect him. He's a legend. He's the Hall of Famer. He's one of the best that ever did it. Or maybe the best. I don't know. I'm not a LeBron fan, as in I'm not a Michael Jordan fan, but I respect them. I love how they play. But I'm not LeBron. But dude is nice. How can you hate on him? But you need haters. You need haters, Dave.
We all do.
So I think somebody wrote an article on you, talking about you didn't support New York City or New York City, and I'm like, you need haters. And I wrote back, there's no way. Dave showed me love at Seward Park, Murry Bergtraum, and we're not one of those basketball schools.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about? You showed me love right now, and I respect that. You know what I mean? I didn't do a interview with anybody yet, if you realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And people have been asking me to do it. And they might get mad at me for this one. But I did it with you because you always show me love from jump. And then I said, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said, yo, Ed, you need to tell your story. Stop bullshitting. People want to hear your story.
You
And
told the
that's
story
why
today.
Yes, and that's why I've been working on this book and this documentary. Because remember, in this game, basketball, we're talking about basketball. It's always a majority of people that play is African American and Caucasian. How many Asians really been involved and been powerful?
That's
My
true.
man from the Brooklyn Nets, he owns it, right? But even before him, especially in my era, ain't no Asian person trying to play basketball at that high level, or they can't play at that high level. I must have been halfway decent if I got a scholarship to every school I've been to. I mean, I must have been halfway decent. I played Riverside Church. That's when we're talking back in the days. They pay you to play, not like now. The kids pay to play at Riverside Church. I must have been halfway decent. I'm not saying I was the best. I must have been halfway decent. Just speaking, Dave.
Right. So this is one of my questions, my favorite part, as we get towards the end of this interview. One of my favorite questions I love to ask my guests. If you could go back to 1990, what would you tell Eddie Lau at 15?
What would I tell myself at 15 years old? You got to really be more serious with life and how to be more prepared. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D, or whatever, how long it is. Because sometimes it doesn't work out. So what is your next plan? Okay? And then what's your follow plan? And I don't take back any of the stuff that I, did at an early age to say that I will redo them again, because that made me who I am. Growing up Lower East Side made me who I am to this day. You know what I'm saying? Probably focus on school more, my academics. You know what I'm saying? And take it more seriously. Take it more serious. That's the only thing I could really say, and just, you know what I'm saying? Try to be a good person. Try to be a good person.
Final question. What's next in the future for Eddie Lau?
My next, I want to continue helping kids, through basketball. I want to keep helping kids on and off the court. I want to build, whether it's a program or academy or school, really trying to help kids showcase their talent. Whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever sport is. I love basketball, so I'm talking about basketball right now, to help them be able to develop and get better, and hopefully get a scholarship and play at the next level, whether it's college, whether it's pros, whatever it is. Yeah.
Eddie, thank you for coming on to share your testimonial, and I wish you and the Murry Bergtraum Blazers nothing but the best moving forward.
Thank you. Really appreciate you, man. Really appreciate you. All right, we got to catch up soon in person, okay?
Indeed. Well, everybody,
Thanks,
this is episode 81 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. For everybody that supports my man Eddie Lau from the Lower East Side and everywhere else, go check out this interview on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. Stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.
My man, bye.